like to call to order the City of Cape Mesa Historic Preservation Commission meeting for May 18th. It is now 6 o'clock. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act 1975, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. If any member has reason to believe that this meeting is being held in violation of this act, they should state so at this time. Hearing none, if everyone would please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lauren, can we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Becker?
Here.
Mr. Testa?
Here.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Ms. Pisagno?
Here.
Ms. Wilson-Stridick?
Here.
Mr. Stevenson?
Present.
Ms. Decker?
Present.
Mr. Hammeran?
Here.
Mr. Kurtz?
Good? Okay. So I believe that you all received a copy of the minutes from our April 20th meeting from Lauren. Hopefully we've all had a chance to review them. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll move the adoption of the April 20th minutes.
I will second it.
So moved by Mr. Testa, seconded by Mr. Carroll. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Ms. Pisagno?
Abstain.
Ms. Wilson-Stridick?
Did you abstain? Sorry.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Hammeran?
Yes.
Mr. Testa?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes. So I believe you also all were able to receive and review the email from Lauren about the payment of our bills to Chris Gill and Schwartz Law LLC. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the payment of that bill.
Motion. Seconded.
So moved by Mr. Stevenson, seconded by Mr. Testa. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Ms. Pisagno?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson-Stridick?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Hammeran?
I believe I don't have a vote. I'm an alternate for this vote.
You're right.
You are correct. Thank you, Kevin.
We're always interested in knowing how you feel, but
Vote on the other, two members abstained, but not on this.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Testa?
yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes. So we have a list of resolutions to ratify. I want to make a couple of clarifications. The first one, Hilligoss at 25 Gurney Street. That's Resolution 2026-14. We received via email a revised version of that today. Just want to make sure that we are ratifying the one that was revised, sent by our solicitor. And the same thing for the last one, Yacht Harbor Estates LLC at 1015 Beach Avenue. Just want to make sure that everybody's ratifying the revised version we received today. So in addition to those, we have the Gift of Thistle LLC at 325 Washington Street, Resolution 2026-15. Reich at 1249 Washington Street, Resolution 2026-16. Mitch Zolik at 240 Windsor Avenue, Resolution 2026-17. Pisagno at 518 Bank Street, at Resolution 2026-18. Mecca Investments LLC, also 518 Bank Street. And lastly, Bray Family Partnership, 720 Washington Street. Entertain a motion to ratify these resolutions.
I will do that. Tom?
Second?
Everybody's so reluctant. Second to the motion.
So moved by Mr. Carroll, seconded by Mr. Testa. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Ms. Pisagno?
Abstain.
Ms. Wilson-Stridick?
Abstain.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Hammeran?
Yes.
Mr. Testa?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes. We also have a list of applications approved and denied in review. I'd like to entertain a motion to ratify those as well.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Ms. Wilson-Stridick, seconded by Ms. Bisagno. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes, I excuse myself on Acker, the first one.
Ms. Pisagno?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson-Stridick?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Testa?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes. Okay, moving on to tonight's applications, but before we do, you folks may recall that the beginning of last year, when we had our first alignment workshop, the group of us aligned around what is the real purpose, the core purpose of HPC's work. I'd like to ask Judy if she would please read that to set the tone and energy in the room tonight.
The purpose of HPC's work is to serve as a catalyst for guiding and valuing Cape May's historical, cultural, and natural resources in ways that inspire and unite our community to steward these resources for the benefit of all, so that present and future generations continue to express the unique quality of life we share in this place that we love.
Thank you, Judy. So notice, folks, that there is one change in our agenda this evening. The application for Huntington House LLC at 107 Grant Street requested that they be shifted to our June meeting. So there will be one application that's on the list that we won't be hearing tonight. With that said, if we could have our applications begin with Hampton at 645 Lafayette Street. If you'd please come up and state your name and your relationship to the project. The floor will be yours. Hi, Mr. Hampton.
Mr. Hampton, if you could just turn on that, yeah, when it's
Hey.
green, it's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
My name is Trevor Hampton. With me, I'm representing the family. I have two sisters that jointly own the property, 645 Lafayette. My wife, Sharon, would normally be here because she is the project manager. She's the one that handles all the details associated with making this happen. Also with me, I have Mr. Middleton of Middleton Construction Company. He has experience in working with historic properties, and we're delighted to have him working with us to ensure that we get this done and consistent not only with city ordinances in terms of condition, but also to make sure that it is a flagship as relates to historic district properties. So we're available to you, and my wife is the project manager, is here by telephone if needed to comment if it's appropriate at that time. So I open it up to the commission as far as the application is provided, and any details that you need in terms of the kind of materials and the methodology, I leave to Mr. Middleton to describe to you in detail.
So just to be clear, it appears that this application is for removing and replacing the wood lap siding that's on the house, that'll be cedar clapboard siding, and to install the substrates for that, as well as new wood for the second floor deck.
Yes.
Okay, so my only question is, have you folks determined what wood product you want to use for that second floor wood deck?
Mrs. Hampton was saying she wanted to do bamboo, but we need to see what is going to work and what's acceptable to the commission.
Okay, so Kevin, why don't we start with you, if you could ask any questions you have?
Sure. First of all, I'm delighted to see this project coming in here. I have to say that I'm just absolutely delighted.
Kevin, could you turn on your mic? I'm sorry.
Start off the meeting right again. I can't ever seem to remember to turn this on. Your plans are then to use cedar siding on the outside. Bamboo is usually acceptable to us. Mahogany would be another choice. There's a number of ones. It just has to be a solid wood, not a wood composite.
Okay.
I don't really have any other questions. As I read the materials checklist, it seems as if the window trim is going to be in cedar. That's acceptable to us. It should be the same size as
Same
what's on it.
profile.
Yeah, essentially a same for same replacement. Railings usually are either custom made to match what's on the house already, the historic piece, or if it's not the historic, then something that emulates that. So that would be what we'd look for. And then the cut sheets, are usually there. And I saw the estimates from Carter Lumber and others, so I'm good at this point. I don't really have any other questions.
Great. B?
I don't really have any questions. I'd like to echo what Kevin said, and so happy to see this being done. House is of great historical nature.
Absolutely.
We're so happy that this is happening, so.
Hey, how you doing?
I just echo what these guys said. We're very happy to see this progress on the house. I just wonder if you've looked at the sill of the house at all, because I have a feeling when you take the siding off, you may discover that the sill has disintegrated.
After going up underneath and exploring and checking everything out, there is a few sections of the sill that's going to need to be replaced.
Okay, so you're gonna,
And they did have a engineer check it out. And, yeah, we're aware that we do have to replace some of the sills.
okay, great. That's it, thank you.
Okay, well, I've actually had the pleasure of touring that building with your sisters, and, delightful people. And I think this is a great step. This is going to be one of our cornerstones of the new African American Historical District. So we really thank the family for proceeding with this.
Yeah, I'm just so excited you're here. Thank you.
It's an honor to do it.
Yeah, we're very excited.
This is becoming an evening of echoes. I'm going to try not to echo too much. I think it's clear to say we've all been very worried about this building for a long time. And what you propose to do looks like it's going to put it right back into trim again, which is terrific, because it's on Lafayette Street and it's a major gateway coming into this. I see that my application has got no check on it, either conceptual or final. Should I assume this is a final application? Do you have no other, you have no other boards to apply to, right? No other permissions to get? So we're going to treat it as a final approval. And only one other comment, and that is that everything in your material sheet seems to be in order with respect to a contributing property. And Kevin mentioned the choice of wood is, but you have a wide choice of decking just so long as it's natural wood, right? So that part. When we do these things, though, it's also good to have a complete reference to cut sheets. So some of the stuff you've referenced here isn't exactly shown to a particular cut sheet, but we can tell from the material sheet what it is you're proposing to do. So that's not an echo. I pass it on to Tom.
Thank you. I, too, this wonderful anchor to all the work that's been done on Franklin, leading right up to that house, is just a wonderful, wonderful thing. My experience in years on here, the bamboo has mostly been used as an indoor product. And I know it's extremely tough, it wears well. I have not had an experience or remember anybody using it outside. So I would urge you to explore how it holds up in an outside environment, because there certainly are other woods that we would approve for that. Ipe, mahogany are some of the frequent ones that come before us. I wouldn't want you to see the wood that was really not the right thing for that.
Okay, thank you.
And I pretty much echo the same thing that everyone else here said. This is such a key contributing property in the historic district. I'm thrilled that you're coming in here and doing these renovations. I see that the doors are going to be refurbished as well.
Yes.
And I'm looking at the shutters on the photographs, and I've also go by the house all the time. Is there anything planned for the shutters, since they're actually kind of doors?
Some of them are in decent shape, and then I reached out to several places, even up in Lancaster, PA, where we could probably either get those same shutters or they would make them for us. And as far as the doors, that style of door is pretty easy to find.
Okay. And I also echo Mr. Carroll's sentiments as far as the decking on the bamboo. Maybe look at that as far as the harder material, something that would hold up. Yeah. But thank you for this application. As soon as I saw it, I was thrilled.
Just to add, if you're trying to get bamboo out of your yard, it's the toughest thing in the world. It has to have some strength to it.
I don't think you're going to home make the bamboo.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
I
My
do-
wife would like to comment or respond to some of the items here, if that's okay, through the speaker.
I'm going to put her by the microphone there.
Okay, Sharon, you're on.
Thank you everyone. At this point, I understand what you're saying about the
I'm afraid
bamboo,
she's not coming.
Yeah, we can't
I'm
hear her.
having a volume problem. Hold on a minute.
Maybe perhaps put it on speaker.
Try your speakerphone.
huh?
Your speaker on?
Yes, I think it is.
Let's see. What we got here? Mute. Let's see. There we go.
Okay. All right, Sharon.
As far as, and my name is Sharon Hampton. As far as the message on the bamboo, I've renovated numerous properties, especially here in Florida and other states. Bamboo will be fine. It will hold up. I'm sorry that you just know for it to be used outside. Here in Florida, we actually grow bamboo outside. So the bamboo will be the best for that area that I'm using it for.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Hampton, Mr. Middleton, pleasure having you here this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank
So I would like to move that we approve this application for final with 4 clarifications, simply because there's a couple of pieces of information that aren't specified on the material checklist, that any wood sills that need to be replaced will match existing. Any wood railings that need to be replaced will match existing. Any wood shutters that need to be replaced will match existing, and the wood door will match existing. And those would be my only clarifications. Do I hear a second for this?
Second the motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
what do you want to do about the decking
Oh,
material?
good question. Any further comments about the decking?
I would leave to that open to use bamboo, but as I said, urge them to just check into the durability of that and have mahogany or ipe as an alternative.
I would leave the choice of wood completely to their discretion.
I would too. Okay, as long as it's wood and not a synthetic
When
material.
we say wood, we mean wood.
So is the HPC comfortable with a bamboo product with the wood as a backup?
Yes.
Just want to be clear about that.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's what we're hearing.
Right.
Okay, so with those 5 clarifications, we have a motion on the floor from Mr. Becker, seconded by Mr. Testa. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carroll.
Yes.
Ms. Pisagno.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Strudek.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Ms. Decker.
Yes.
Mr. Testa.
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
And get a hearing.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too.
You too.
Next on our application agenda is Shell Cottage, 908 LLC at 908 Stockton. Good evening. If you could please state your name and your role on the project?
Yes, of course. My name is Susan Burgos. I am the sole member of Shell Cottage 908 LLC.
Oh,
So I'm the owner of the property.
terrific.
My contractor unfortunately wasn't able to join me tonight. He had another engagement.
So, Susan, the floor is yours.
Okay. Over the wonderful winter, during one of the many storms that we had, I noticed that we were missing roof shingles in the rear building of the property, which is used as a vacation rental property that I take care of myself. And I would just like to replace the roof.
So, this seems fairly straightforward. I see no reason to go all the way around the room, but if anybody has any questions or comments, I invite you to make or ask them, please.
Just one. This is checked out as a contributing property, but I don't think that really means that the garage behind it is also a contributing property.
Actually, I believe it is, Tom.
Is it?
Is
Yeah.
it in the report as
It
contributing?
is.
Okay, that'll do it.
Apparently, that second building shows up on the 1909 Sanborn map.
Okay,
It was corrected in 1932, which is still in the period of significance.
okay, fine.
So you're going to put asphalt fiberglass over the whole roof?
If that's okay with you.
Well, it's certainly okay with us, especially if you, what do you have on there now?
It's asbestos tile.
It's certainly okay with us for that purpose.
Okay?
You don't put things over.
Yeah, I didn't mean over.
Oh, it would be
In
removed, of
place.
course. Yes, I apologize.
I didn't mean to
Absolutely,
imply that
yes,
you would be
yes.
nailing the new fiberglass over your asbestos shingles.
No.
Okay, Mrs., the existing roof, was that the original roof?
No.
To my,
Not with asbestos.
The original,
Okay,
the
but
original
my-
roof, the original roof was a metal roof, as according
Okay.
to the original surveys, yeah. But the asphalt roof probably would have been put in after 1932, 40, somewhere in there.
Yeah, my question would have been regarding the diamond-shaped pattern now, which I don't know whether that's appropriate. Maybe one of our other commissioners could respond to that, or?
Mr. Carroll, do you have any thoughts about that?
Yes, that shape of an asbestos shingle was all over town.
Right.
And most of those things came in like in the poor days of,
40s, 50s.
after the Great Recession, and people for absolute economy and no painting responsibilities and fireproofing went for these asbestos shingles. They've come off all over town. They could last forever, but they're also asbestos too. So it's before they start breaking up and falling into the soil around the house, it'd be a good way to get them off now.
Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you.
There's a comment on the property report that says that the property has exposed roof rafter tails, and I don't know if that's on the main property or the back property, but just a point that usually we try to preserve that.
of course, I believe that's on the front house.
Okay.
Only.
You can't tell from the report, so that's why I brought it up.
Any other comments or questions for this applicant? Would anybody like to make a motion for final approval?
Motion?
Second.
So moved by Mr. Stevenson, seconded by Ms. Decker. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Ms. Basagno,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Sherdick,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson,
Yes.
Ms. Decker,
Yes.
Mr. Testa,
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next applicant, Congress Hall LLC, 251 Beach Avenue. If you could please introduce yourself and tell us your role in the project.
I'm Curtis Bashaw, Managing Partner, Congress Hall.
Robert Shapansky, Project Manager for Congress Hall LLC.
Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
This presentation tonight outlines proposed exterior improvements to historic Congress Hall located at 251 Beach Avenue. in Cape
Could
May.
you move your mic closer, please?
We are seeking final approval for an entrance awning and third floor balcony located on the rear of the Perry Street Annex Wing. The intent of the project is to improve our guest arrival experience, accessibility, weather protection, and an architectural balance while maintaining the historic character of the building. All proposed improvements have been developed with a sensitivity to the historic significance of Congress Hall. We did briefly meet with committee members one morning just to review concepts and get our design correct. If you're familiar with Congress Hall, the existing photos in the application show the column spacing on the front of the building, which looks a little congested. The entrance lacks adequate coverage for drop-off to guests. Our existing ramps will be required for reconstruction to accommodate the supports of the new awning structure. And the current facade does not emphasize the importance of the hotel's primary entry, mainly because of changes that were made over the years. So,
I'll give a little context. If you look at this rendering, the entrance that you see that we've all known for our lives was actually created in the 1920s by Annie Knight. The original entrance is to the left. It's the much smaller doors. And all these years since she made that entrance, there's sort of a column right in the middle of the entrance. So our goal was to modify the column rhythm and to make sure the ADA access was in good shape, and then to add a canopy over the entrance that would extend out to the driveway, that would have heat lamps in it and would also give some coverage. Back in the day, Annie Knight didn't run Congress Hall in November, December, January, and February. And we think that that will make a much better entrance and arrival experience for the guests. The four flags would stay, the column design would stay exactly as the columns are built, And it would be really relocating 2 columns and adding the canopy over the entrance.
So you can see on the detail elevations of a metal awning over the new main entrance. Removed and relocated columns are dashed in lines, and I do have a column study that we'll get to help understand that fenestration. In addition, we'll be changing the ramp slightly to meet code requirements for accessibility when we encounter, replacing footings for the new awning itself. The steel awning emulates other awnings that are on historical buildings in large cities around the United States and the world, for that matter. It has steel columns. It's a steel frame with a wood ceiling underneath, an EPDM roof, some lighting and heating elements on the underside, and we will be moving our Congress Hall sign forward, slightly reshaped to emphasize the main entrance. This exhibit in your packet is our column study. It shows the precise center location of all the existing columns and the proposed center location of the new columns. You can see that the two that are relocated, one is removed by the old entry doorway, and it becomes more balanced. The spacing, as you can see, varies from column to column. They've moved around a lot over the years, I'm sure. There's an addition to the west. There was changes to the entrance in the center. And now they're roughly closer to 15.5 feet on center, except for the new main entrance, where we double the columns at 8 feet 3 inches on center to pronounce the entrance to Congress Hall. There will still be 55 columns, colossal columns as they're described in the report. And we're not making any aesthetic changes to the wood columns that we're moving.
Okay.
Should I do part 2? Part 2 is a balcony. It's attached to the end of the description here. This exhibit shows a portion of our annex Perry wing that runs along Perry Street. We have an existing deck over the first floor that's utilized by room 247. We're proposing a small balcony for the third floor that would be utilized for 347. We have reviewed the standards, and we have designed this element to emulate those standards by pulling it inside of the building. We are not exact replicating the existing balconies on Congress Hall with something a little different, the way that it looks now on the top of 247, so that it's not taking away too much. For scale, we've reduced the size of the required railing slightly and added a 6-inch safety rail at the top so that the scale and balance of this new structure looks appropriate with the height of the building.
That's also what we did on the Congress Hall balconies themselves when we renovated that building in 2002. We kept the original railings that were shorter, and we added a horizontal bar to get the height and keep the required 4 inches or less gaps for safety. So,
in addition, in your packet, there are details of these two structures and the entrance, and we're happy to take questions from the commission.
Okay, so let's go around the room. Start with you this time, Lorraine, please.
Sure. I like the entrance, you're calling it the main entrance, but I kind of call it the back entrance. The rhythm of the columns feels right the way I'm seeing it in the rendering. It just feels like it's a inviting entrance. I'm seeing the steel awning as like a porte-cochere now, am I correct? That's kind of what because it does protrude out 14 feet. It's pretty substantial. I don't know if you can really see it on that front elevation, but I see that would fit the building the architectural part of the building. I'm glad that you're keeping the flags and having them flanking each side of that entrance. And I don't see a problem with the railing. It's keeping in fit with the rest of the balcony that we have on the, I guess, on the front right-hand side is where it would be. It fits everything else that, that's around Congress Hall, especially on the front part of it, on the L shape. I think it was very well thought out. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I have no problem with the position of the columns or the work going on in the back, but since many times before, Robert, you've been here presenting things successfully, and now the owner of the building is here. So I'm going to drop again a hint that we've dropped before, that returning the shutters to the building would be one of the most outstanding things that would bring that building back to its original appearance. We know it's expensive, but that would really be wonderful.
There are shutters not shown on this on the whole first floor of the building currently. Operable shutters. It's the second and third floor that you long for and that one day will happen.
Will I live that long?
Well, we hope so.
I hope I do too.
I'm done.
Okay, so I'm not going to add any more musings about what we'd add to the building. I'm just going to try and judge the application the way it's been submitted. I think that my primary goal here is to be sure that what's proposed doesn't threaten at all the key contributing status of the building. I mean, that to me is something we have to preserve. So there's, to my way of thinking, there's a lot of leeway in looking at how to adjust these things, which would still preserve the status and not threaten it. There was something of an eclectic distances between those columns. They just didn't always match up in terms of spacing. If you're going to create a new entrance, you aren't going to be able to do it with the existing column spacing. So I think it's taken as a given that you need to have some rearrangement of the columns in order to surround the new entrance. Your choice of how to put them in, to me, looks very, very aesthetically pleasing, even though it's not the original configuration of the columns. It still takes a pair of them on each side of the new entrance, and it uses them to frame the entrance. So to me, the arrangement and spacing of the columns does not detract from the key contributing status of the building. I think that the porte cochere is on the big side, but it's a big building. And so it needs to reach out and do the things it does. That would be my only concern, a little bit about the size of the porte cochere. And moving on to the adjacent building with the railings, I think that you've well taken the proportions of those railings and fitted them appropriately to create the new balcony is it an annex? Whatever it's
Well, yes, the Perry Wing. It was a staff building originally. It was the service building for Congress Hall. It was, well, I lived there as a worker in 1976, but it was converted to guest rooms in 2002.
And the step back looks really fine in terms of the first balcony and then the smaller balcony up above. So I've no difficulty with that at all. Pass.
Hi.
Hi.
So it looks beautiful, and I'm wondering, when you went through the whole SHPO review and did the beautiful renovation in 2000, there was a lot of attention on what could or could not be changed. And I am lucky enough to sit in my living room and look at that gorgeous building anytime I want. So I'm wondering, that was not the original entrance, right? The original entrance was toward the beach.
No, the original entrance was on that side, and it was right here. So it was much smaller. If you look at the facade, it doesn't show here now, but there was clearly a sill door above the entrance. There was probably a small balconette there. Then when Mr. Ramagosa and Mr. Sandman renovated it in the early 60s, they added the driveway from Beach that went up around a circular driveway. There was a carriage in the middle of it, and that, really the building functioned with the main entrance on Congress Place, and the other side was a big backyard to the ocean. In 2002, we took out that driveway and we really made the Congress Place entrance the primary entrance again, and restored the lawn to the way it was, you know, more from the beginning of the hotel until the 1950s. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, so that was my primary question, similar to Jim's, about, I'm not an architectural historian. The key contributing status is really important. And so any change that would be a fairly substantial change is one that I don't feel personally qualified to say that's okay or that's not okay. It looks good. It looks symmetrical. I don't have any issues with that. And the porte-cochere, it's kind of hard for me to imagine how large that is or how it will dominate. Will the sign stay the same, or will
The sign that is there was put up in 2002.
Right.
It was made to replicate the sign that's on the other side of the building going to the beach that's much smaller. So if you walk in from the beach up into the main entrance, you'll see a smaller metal sign that had cut, it actually has blown glass letters that spell out Congress Hall. So we tried to emulate that in a larger way over this entrance in 2002. Brian Demuse made that sign, by the way. And if you look closely at this, that entrance from the 1920s is quite wide. There's 2 doors and there's 2 side lights. And we have basically made the porte-cochere as wide as that, with the column supports proud of both sides of that entrance. And then we also have the handicap ramps that come up along the building. They're fairly innocuous, but there's a turning radius you need to have for the chairs. So the width is really, and it's within the columns also. So we tried to keep it not too imposing. It comes out just about a foot or 18 inches past the front column line, and a much smaller sign will be there, more like the scale of the sign on the other side of the building. Metal sign with the glass letters as the existing one, but it will be a little more visible because it won't be cut by the colonnade, and it will just sit really in line with the existing columns.
And the doors, they'll remain?
Stay the same.
Okay. Looks good.
Thank you.
I just wanted to comment on the misaligned column. That about 5 or 6 years ago, a straight line wind came through and blew one of your columns down and part of your roof. I live 2 blocks behind there. I lost 2 200-year-old Dutch elms. So, I mean, over the course of 150 years, there may have been similar incidents that resulted in a misplaced column. And so, I mean, I think you also have the principle of celebrating an entrance. So when people know where to go, it's clearly, this is the entrance. I think you've achieved that with this. And the canopy, it kind of reminds me of the Benjamin Franklin Hotel in Philly. I believe they had that on Chestnut Street. Whether Tom would know.
Yes.
That metal, yes. Okay, but I mean, I think it looks nice.
Thank you.
Now that you've explained the change in the columns, I do understand, of course, what you're attempting to do. You certainly don't want a column in front of your door. I didn't know that, actually. I thought the original door was in the L, facing the ocean, so thank you for that. I know how much you cared for this building, and I want to thank you. This is an icon on the whole eastern seaboard. I'm a little concerned about the porte-cochere. Are you trying to emulate the 1920s because it looks to me a little bit like a theater entrance with all the lights. I'm not sure what the architectural reference is to this type of roof, as opposed to something that would be, an 1879 look for this roof.
We weren't trying to emulate a particular period. We looked with the architect at a lot of different porte cocheres. We wanted it to feel intentional and not like a modern porte cochere that you would find in Atlantic City. We didn't want to bring it out so that the cars could drive under it, but we did want to, it's very windy at that entrance, and we wanted to create sort of a comfort zone within that high porch to protect people from the wind and the rain as they get out of their car. So, we settled on this look because of the, we wanted to do the iron supports, which would have been something a Victorian building would have. And so there wasn't an attempt to go for a certain period. The lighting, we have a version of that with the light bulbs concealed. Actually, it was, you'll see it, Bob will get it up. There was something exactly like that on the other side of the building by the entrance to the dining room. So that was sort of glass panes that came down and the lights are behind it.
Oh.
So if that's, we're open to comments on that detail.
I like that a lot better, because it doesn't have that dance hall look.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that, because when I saw that we had the other drawing up, this is my preference too.
I like that better.
So
That's just me.
I think it's nice to have, sometimes the old light bulbs screwed in are really cute in different applications. But in this instance, I think if you prefer that, we would be more than amenable to that.
Well, you don't have to clean them as much. I think that, especially if you're emulating an entrance that was already there on the side, I like that also as a preservationist. I kind of wish we had a little bit more of a color rendering of that, but I mean, that's a better rendering. I like that better. I don't know how everyone else feels, but thank you so much for your time. I have no problem with the little balcony for the room. I think that's very nice.
Okay.
I love an ocean view. And John explained a little bit more about why the columns were moving. The columns will be the same proportions as the existing. Okay, I mean, thank you again for Congress Hall. It's just beautiful. I remember when it was really in trouble. I was very concerned, so we're very appreciative of everything you do for this icon. Thank you.
Great building, great place.
Well, I was sitting at my desk after school, kept looking at this, and this I found to be the most helpful page, where I saw the discrepancy that, believe it or not, I have never really noticed. And I think that this is an excellent plan. I love the idea of the porte cochere, especially for lighting us soft, and welcoming. And it was very interesting to see the difference in all of these. I have no problems with any of it.
So first of all, in the interest of full disclosure, the plans for this were presented to the small group, and we had a number of comments on it back then. This is materially like what we saw in the small group. So, and of course, our perspective was this was, and it did require a full commission review. Just a couple of comments. One is, given that this was not the original main entrance on this side, I think the original entrance did have a sense of balance, and now this is restoring a sense of balance. So to me, that's fine with the changing around of the columns and the locations of those columns. That makes total sense to me, and it does present ultimately a sense of a balance among the columns, and I think that's the way the architect would have wanted it and would have designed it. So the two-deck option that was on there was, as I recall, there were several different options, and this was sort of the least intrusive and the most, it felt like the most historically accurate kind of modification that could be made to that. So I think that was one of the things that led to the choice of that option as we see it. A couple of other points. One is the canopy. Actually, I don't remember seeing that canopy, and I was going to say I think I like that one better too. But even the other one was fine with me. What it called to mind for me was the Waldorf Astoria in New York. It kind of looks a little like that, the squared off one, and
But
I think
bigger.
that it's a very attractive one in that environment, and I think it would have been fine in this one. But I do like that little rounded one. And if that is a representative of what was on the other side, then I think absolutely that would be the one we would prefer. We'll need to see cut sheets of the materials and things like that when you get closer to final design and everything else, just to make sure that those are all in the file. And the same with the lighting and landscaping plan for any modifications that you make to that entrance as well. That's just typical of what we require here. That's it.
So to clarify, you just referenced conceptual, but it appears as if this is a final submission. Is that correct?
That's what we're seeking, but we could accept the condition of turning in a detailed plan prior.
Okay.
But you don't have any other approvals you need to get for the project?
No, not for this.
This is the only board that you're...
Correct.
Yeah, the existing deck, the canopy is under a canopy, so it doesn't technically change the version, as well as the balcony is on a balcony, so it doesn't technically change the version.
So I find this really well done. And one of the things that I'm impressed by is the column spacing as they currently exist. And everybody's talked about that, but it ranges from about 9.5 feet to 16.5 feet. It's all over the place. Mostly that becomes erratic on this end. So by cleaning it up and placing the two pairs of closer spaced columns on either side of the entrance, as Mr. Stevenson said, you're really celebrating this entrance. And that would have been a move that absolutely would have been made throughout history since, well, Roman times, actually, that we see consistently across pretty much all epochs and eras of architecture. I also find the canopy, the porte cochere, really delightful. There was, just from personal experience, that entrance was added in what, late 20s? Yeah, I worked on a Federal Reserve Bank in Pittsburgh that's now a hotel that was built in the late 20s, early 30s, and that very similar to that kind of a canopy. So the question I have about it is, this is painted steel, so it'll be metal that's painted, correct?
Yes.
And so the little dots are medallions, they're not lights, right? On the face of the canopy.
Those are stars, I believe?
Oh.
Or is it fleur-de-lis? One or the other.
Yeah, it's a detail that would be,
It's
a metal,
relief.
yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it would be, look as if it's part of the structure.
Perfect. Okay. So the only question I have really is about the lighting itself. I was questioning the lighting in the sections that you showed us because it was so visible. The rendering you brought this evening changes that, and I find it far more preferable. It won't be nearly as distracting to the eye. The question is, I'm trying to figure out what those little scallop pieces are. Are those pieces of metal, or is that fabric, or what is that?
Those were pieces of, like a milk glass.
Oh, even nicer. So will the lamps themselves, the bulbs,
Be behind it.
Okay.
And the milk glass would glow.
Okay.
So it wouldn't,
but from a distance, and as you get closer, you'll actually be able to see the light source once you get closer, right?
when you get underneath of it.
Got it. Okay, great. So the only comment I have about that is I would like to request that the temperature of that lighting be no more than 2,500 degrees Kelvin. So that
We
it's nice and
100%
warm.
agree with you.
All right, of course you do. I knew you would. So the only thing that I have any cause for concern about is the application is a little bit incomplete.
Okay.
The materials checklist doesn't specify, it says fascia steel, but where is that? So probably should say on the porte cochere, it doesn't have any materials for columns, railings, decking, or signage. So I think what we need to see, and I think we can do this conditionally, is a revised material spreadsheet that every single material that you're using is indicated on this spreadsheet. We need that for two reasons. One is that's what we're approving. Second is that then gives our field representative something as a reference to make sure that what's being installed is what's approved. It's really for your protection and ours.
That's great.
actually.
That's fine.
Okay. Other than that, I find this really delightful. And I would like to move that we approve this as a final application with the condition that you submit a finalized materials checklist along with the revised elevation on A201 showing that canopy and a revised section on A301 showing that canopy.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
would that come back to the work group
Yes.
on Tuesday? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
that,
not back to the regular.
if you guys find that acceptable.
We've had situations where this
Yeah.
kind of stuff is approved by the review
Sure.
committee.
So those are the three conditions that I would ask.
Great.
So moved.
I will second.
Okay. Final approval with those conditions moved by Mr. Becker, seconded by Mr. Carroll. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carroll? Yes. Ms. Pistagno?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Trudich?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Testa?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes. Thank you.
I want to congratulate you on 50 years, and I'm so sorry I missed the dinner of the century. I heard it was just amazing. I was very reflective coming here tonight because I believe my first hearing in front of this board was in like 1983. We were starting on the Virginia Hotel. So while it's not the full 50 years, it's only 7 years into the history of the board. So you've accomplished a lot. The whole town has together, and nice to see everybody, and thanks for your hard work.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Rob.
Okay. Moving on, we have, I'm likely going to mispronounce this, Inakone, at 1045 Washington Street. I must recuse myself from this deliberation due to proximity since my home is less than 200 feet away, so I'd like to turn this over to Mr. Testa.
Okay, so you want to take your seat in the audience? Okay, welcome, and make your presentation, please. Identify yourself. We all know who you are, but for the record, please give us the details.
Thank you. I'm Pamela Fine with Fine Architecture. I'm the project architect. I'm here tonight representing my client, Ron Iannacone, I believe is how you pronounce it.
Depends on whether you want
Yeah.
to Italian way or
I could
not.
be wrong. I don't know.
In Italian, it's Iannacone.
So I'm sure, as you know, the location of this particular house is right across the street from the Emlyn Physic Estate. It's a very prominent area, very prominent corner. So we are coming here tonight to do a fairly involved renovation. As you can see on the plans, most of it on the first floor is interior and really doesn't change much on the outside. But on the second floor plan, we're actually proposing a rear addition. Right now, the way it sits today, the rear of the house has one story. Basically, a third of the house at the rear is one story. So we're proposing a second story on that portion. I had the pleasure of coming a few months ago, sitting with John, sitting with Kevin, before we did construction drawings, because I wasn't quite sure on the roof, the design, is it too much, is it not enough? So they gave me some pointers, which I relayed to the owners, and I think we came up with a option that has the intent that we discussed, and gave them the ability to have everything they wanted on the second floor. So basically, I'm going to jump to the A4 sheet where you see on the front elevation along Skellinger or Schellinger, however you want to pronounce that. Basically, that area along the back upper right corner where I have that box around that roof, that's the area that we're adding on. I chose to do a mansard roof along the back because I felt that was a really nice complement to the mansard roof along the front of the house. The middle of the house basically has like a flat roof. You really doesn't have a lot of visible roof area. So I wanted something to kind of balance the back of the house with that front. So I have a mansard roof shown. It's basically taking the same concept, same character of that front mansard roof, just scaled down. So it's not as high, it's not as prominent and heavy, but it still has that same character, and I think it is a really nice balance when all is said and done. Unfortunately, and I really did push for this, I wanted them to redo and take off the asbestos, but not at this point. But we are proposing wood clapboard on the addition. There is wood clapboard under the asbestos. Eventually, we will take that off and, basically complete the project with the wood. But right now, we're just proposing the wood clapboard on the back. Brand new windows, there'll be the Colby, pre-primed, non-clad, double hung, measured the existing window grills so that we have the width matching what was there, dimensions, everything on the existing windows. We're just basically replacing the windows with the Colby wood windows. Same goes with the shutters. Same idea, same character, same proportion. Shutters along the side, along Skellinger, along the back, along the pool side of the house. So basically wrapping the entire house with new shutters that match what's there. Back onto the roof. The existing roof, the mansard roof along the front is the asphalt roof shingles. So we're just basically doing a direct replacement of that. And then the new mansard will have the asphalt roof shingles as well. You'll see some metal roofing being called out. We do have new metal roofing going on that front porch and along the two accent roofs that we're adding on the two sides. That would be the 1-inch standing seam metal roof. I do want to highlight, I think this was a big thing that was a really nice architectural moment, and it kind of delineates where we added on to what is existing. And you'll see on Skellinger and on the other long side of the building, we have these two areas that are recessed in, each with a window, each with a little roof below. That kind of provides a transition between the existing corner, the back corner of the existing second floor, that stays intact. This recessed wall length then delineates where this new addition starts. And then it also provides a moment for where the rear addition and the mansard roof, the new mansard roof, takes place. So I think that's a nice transition. It's a helpful idea given to me during the meeting, so very appreciative of that. I think it really does help the design as a whole read, and you can definitely have a narrative of saying this was the old house, this direction, and this was added on. So I think that makes it really easy to describe this house and what is historic and versus what is new. The other part of this project is the detached garage. So the detached garage is basically receiving the same as the house, as the addition. New clapboard, new windows, new doors, new roofing, new trim. So right now the garage has like T111. It needs a lot of work. So we're just gonna basically give it a little love and make it match the proposed addition. I think that's it.
Great, okay. So how about if we start from right field and work our way across this way?
I do have to say that how you designed this to mirror the front, I appreciate that. I think it really mimics what, the architectural style of the structure. But I'm also reminded at our HPC, when we had our architectural historians here, they were talking about massing. So I'm just going to mention that, just looking at it on Skellinger's, just walking down that real small street, that's really my only concern about that. On the proposed work that you have on the application, it says there's the metal standing seam roof. You're doing the metal standing seam roof on the front porch as well as the shed, am I correct?
That's correct.
Because it said locations, and I wasn't quite sure.
Yes.
Those are the only two locations.
Yes, so the
Correct.
front wraparound porch, the shed, and then we have 2 accent roofs that are new along the side.
Okay. Those are my only comments. But, thank you.
Thank you.
I have to say, you've learned an awful lot by attending meetings over having the
Listen.
segue to tie the two buildings together. The back roof is a little bit lower than the front. Lined up from the street, you're not really seeing at the back. I think it's very well done. I would like to add, if we can, one more permission that would be good for the next 2 years, that you could go ahead and remove the asbestos shingling on the front without coming back to us and restore the clapboard. And then we would have siding that would match from the front and the back.
Thank you.
Is that legal to add up?
Well, we're going to have a ruling on that, but if it is and we want to do that, we can. I mean,
Potentially incorporate it as a condition to this, if you want to provide, a 2-year approval for that to be
Well,
done.
our approvals run out after 2 years, so if they don't do anything within the 2-year period, it would run out. But, that might give them the leeway to say, my gosh, we could finish this off while we got the teams here and working.
well, this could be the first instance we've ever approved like something like that in advance. We'll take it up. Let's do the comments around the table first, okay?
So I just want, it's a good design, and I echo Tom's comment about how beautiful it would be if the asphalt was removed. And I also want to mention that we will be doing another awards program in a few years, and your client might actually be very interested that the architectural historians who look at these additions are always looking at the massing and the sensitivity and the quality of materials, and anything like that that's done to restore the original material to the visual public.
Okay.
Because these buildings are gifts to the street, and that's a little carrot.
It's a big carrot.
Jake?
Beautiful plaque.
I just have one question regarding the windows.
Yes.
I see that the exterior buttons, and it says performance divided lights. Is that true?
Right, there's a piece in between the double
Exterior.
pane,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
And I think that shows up in the cut sheet.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I didn't know what performance
Right.
divided light meant. But thank you, I think it's a nice job.
Thank you.
Ms. Decker?
Yes, I just, you're not going to put 6 over 1s.
No, no.
4 over 4s.
It's
or
how
2
it's
over
drawn
2s,
in
I'm
the,
sorry.
yeah, in the elevations.
I also think it's a really nice design. I guess you're going to echo the red roofing material as well on the.
I don't think we really talked about color, but I can mention that if that's important.
I just have one comment. I always think your designs are very sensitively done and appropriate. And I was intrigued by this little canopy roof. That's not, you explained why you were doing it, but if I were the homeowner, I would like that to extend over these doors, because so the rain doesn't go on me when I come in my doors. And on the other side, you do have it over the doors.
Right.
So it's just a suggestion. You did say this is recessed.
The second floor portion of it is.
Yes, I just have a feeling after the fact, they may come back and wish that they had put a canopy over their side entry.
I'll mention it, yeah.
And it could be a return for something.
And I also think Tom's idea was a good one. That would be a very nice incentive for the owners. Thank you.
Thank you.
B?
I particularly like the way you have mimicked the mansard roof, and I have no other questions. They've been answered throughout, so.
Thank you.
Well, 2 things. One is just to note that the garage is also historic, as noted in the property report. It was constructed in the 1920s, so the sensitivity on that building even is nice to see. And I think it's a lovely design. I mean, it's typical, I guess I would say. I mean, it's very sensitive to the symmetry and balancing of the house, and I just think it's a very nicely done design.
Thank you.
So now I understand why it's always great for the chair to go last in making our comments, because I can let all the ideas flow before I get to it. This to me looks like you have, to echo Tom's words, come and learned from all the experiences about how to do additions, both from our standards and from the discussions that you have in meetings beforehand. Because when it comes to, and I'm going to address the Skellinger piece, it is the case that this addition is subordinate, it's definable, it can be picked out as being an addition to the, but it's consistent with the rest of the structure as far as I see it. And the sort of funny thing is that one thing that helps differentiate it until you get rid of the asbestos is that your clapboard is different from your asbestos. So it shows two different overlaps at this point, which clearly shows us that it's an addition. Now, all incentive aside, it would be a great idea to get rid of the asbestos and go back to that, to the clapboard all around. So I think that there's very little that could be done to criticize this design. It ticks off all the things you got to do in order to have an addition. I did note that you're talking about the standing seam metal roof, and I don't see it on the materials sheet. Have I missed that? It's,
The materials checklist?
yeah, the roof, it just says, new mansard roof with asphalt shingles to match.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And of course, when we do that, it's always good to have, and you've touched some of these things by actually showing the manufacturer and essentially the cut sheets in your submission rather than separate cut sheets. So it's a little tough to follow, but the metal roof was kind of missing in action.
Right.
But it's your
I think
representation.
that was a late addition,
Okay,
actually.
your representation, it's a standing 1-inch
Yes.
standing seam metal roof.
Yes.
Okay. Are we good in terms of comments? Anything further to be said? Let's talk about the 2-year thing.
Well,
About
maybe as a condition of approval, I think if it's going to be removed, I think the HPC would like to see the asbestos removed. But then maybe what the applicant can do is, if they elect to exercise that, they can provide a replacement cut sheet material to the review committee for approval, and just kind of preview that would be streamlined if they want to go that route. So the HPC would like to see that removed in connection with this, and provide sort of like, a fast track for the applicant to accomplish that, because that's the outcome that the HPC would like to see.
And I think we're going to let Chris write that up in terms of the way it appears.
I don't think that's going to stop the project from being completed if the applicant doesn't do it, but it would provide an opportunity for the
We call it
opportunity.
an option, right?
Yeah.
An option.
Okay.
An option to do it. So with that said, and the option included, and if there are any other conditions, I'm willing to hear them, but I'd make a motion to approve this application as submitted.
How about the options? And another one would be a little shade over the other doorway to keep rain from hitting
Well,
people.
if you'd like to approve that in advance, I think it's something that they could come back to the review committee when they have another project.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, she has to, you'd have to run that past your clients. It was
Yeah.
just a suggestion.
I would rather see us review what comes, if there's a modification to the shape of the building, I'd rather see us review that either in review because it fits the design standards or by full hearing. So I don't think that's something would make sense for this. But, so we'll do the motion with the option to remove the asbestos and substitute for wood. That's my motion.
I will second.
Okay, made and seconded, so we're ready for a roll call vote. Lauren, please.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Ms. Pasagno?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson-Tredick?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Hammerand?
Still an alternate, you still have a quorum without me.
Mr. Testa?
I think a recusal lets you vote.
I think you would be voting on this because you would be voting on this, Kevin.
Is there still a majority of the full commission without?
You would be 7, I think, because we have 8 with John, so you'd be the 7th.
I agree, I approve.
Mr. Testa?
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Really nice job, Pam. Mr. Chair?
Okay.
Back to you.
Moving on. Next applicant is O'Connor at 1226 Lafayette Street. Thank you, sir. If you folks would please state your name and your role in the project.
Brian O'Connor, I'm a owner.
Vicky O'Connor, owner.
Paul Farnan, architect.
Well, folks, the floor is yours.
Would you like to start? Okay. Good evening, Commissioners. Appreciate your time here tonight. Understand there's a few other applications, so I hope to be concise with this one. We're here discussing 1226 Lafayette Street, Block 1129, Lot 10, here with Brian and Victoria O'Connor, applicants and property owners. The building is non-contributing, single-family residence, is in the historic district. Seeking final approval, previously received conceptual approval in September, on September 16th, 2024. At that time, two conditions were requested. One was the application of shutters to the front facade, which we have applied. And the second was for wood decking in lieu of a fiberglass or polyurea decking. Monolithic was the word that was used. So we proposed mahogany tongue and groove wood decking. We did receive Zoning Board of Adjustment approval on June 26th of 2025. So this would be the last application, last hearing. That's effectively it. If you have any specific questions about how we got here, obviously we did get the conceptual approval, and we got that engaging the commissioners at the Tuesday meetings somewhat regularly.
So I think what you're saying is the only change from the conceptual review is the adding of the shutters. Is that correct?
And the deck.
And the deck, and the
right.
decking.
Okay. So this also seems relatively straightforward to me, but I would like to offer any of you to have any comments or questions rather than going around the room. Keep microphone, please.
We typically ask for the lighting and landscaping plan. The lighting is in that. I found it actually in the materials, but there's not a landscaping plan. I could come to review committee.
I'm sorry, Kevin, you were saying that you...
There is. I thought we had one.
Yeah, there's one.
Yeah, they're here.
It's page,
I don't think it's numbered, but,
it's after the site plan.
Should be 16. Yes.
16.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what page? You said that a lighting plan is here, and it is...
Not a lighting plan, landscaping plan, page 16.
Okay, landscaping is submitted, lighting is not.
Yeah, lighting is on page 17. Lighting is on page 17.
We don't specifically have a lighting plan per se.
Just the
I mean,
fixtures of the deck.
correct.
Fixtures.
Yeah, not indicating any kind of
Yeah.
lumen ratings or anything.
Other questions or comments from anyone else up here, please?
On one of your final pages, you're showing shutters. These are interior shutters behind the windows that fold inside. They're not exterior shutters.
No, so on every side except for the front facade, their Bahama Bermuda shutters are proposed. On the front-facing facade, they're standard hinged shutters proportional to the window opening itself.
But I'm right, these mount inside the window.
In the frame.
Oh, in the frame?
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
You operate them from inside when you just want to...
No, I'm sorry, I'm mistaken what the question is then. They're stationary on the outside. Correct,
On the sides.
correct,
Right, and then on the front, you have
Yeah.
standard shutters.
correct.
That's on
That's
page 22, I
outside,
think.
Stationary.
Yeah, they're stationary. They go like this.
Oh, yeah, okay,
You see it?
okay, yeah.
That's correct.
And then
I would just like to add that taking this nondescript little house, this is a wonderful, wonderful achievement of changing the entrance, giving it the second floor, the trim, and really making it come right in keeping with other things that we that is our pride and joy in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that.
So I only have a couple of comments. This is beautifully done. I hope you guys are happy with it.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Very happy.
I only have two comments. One is, there aren't, the one thing that I think, need to see are railing details. I'll defer to Mr. Carroll to give you a little bit of advice, please.
On railing design, the rule is that there can only be a 4-inch maximum opening. For wood rails like that, to keep them in keeping with others in the town, we request that the post in the center be no smaller than 1 3/4 inches, and the opening between them be no more than 3 inches. That gives the bulk of the material and the opening to fit in. Putting a strong cap railing on the top also helps bring it down. And you'll see examples all over town of railings that have been done in different ways, and some of them are very pleasing to from the outside, and also very pleasing for the people inside in trying to enjoy privacy, but as well as a view, a combination of two things that you want.
Okay.
So,
The only other comment I have is that I noticed that you are extending the brick chimney, and I think that it would be helpful to add to your materials checklist under other, that the brick for the extended chimney will match existing. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Perfect.
Yeah, we can certainly add that.
So those would be the only two conditions that I would propose, railing details and brick to match the existing chimney. Any other comments?
and those conditions to be put in front of the review committee.
Correct,
after
bring
final
before the
approval.
review committee. Other than that, I think we'd like to entertain a motion for final approval based upon those, oh, I'm sorry, Judy.
I didn't have a chance to give, did you
Oh, I'm
comment?
sorry, we were
Did
just,
you guys comment?
Just if anybody had questions.
Oh,
yeah, we weren't going around the room, so please.
yeah, I just think you're going to be really happy with your new home. I appreciate it. I'm a little concerned about the tree. I hope the tree's going to be respected.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're concerned about it too, and we are going to have an expert look at it, and hopefully we'll, not hopefully, we're going to do everything to protect the tree.
Yeah, I wasn't on the commission when this first came in, but I worked here, and I remember it had picture windows in the front, and I remember being disturbed, and I just think it's really beautiful, and it's really interesting that it mirrors the Stephen Smith house, the facade, circa 1846.
Oh,
Right
wow,
down the
yes.
Yeah,
street.
yeah,
It's just
that's cool.
so interesting.
Yes.
Um,
The elderly woman who used to live there, she used to sit outside it every day, she's still there, so she's going to be happy too.
I think it's a wonderful addition to Lafayette Street, so congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I'd like to say the same. It's going to be really fun to watch
Yes.
this transformation.
Thank you. We'll have a barbecue when we're done. You guys are all welcome.
So entertain a motion to approve it with the two conditions previously raised.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
So moved by Ms. Wilson-Stridick, seconded by Ms. Pasagno. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carroll.
Yes.
Ms. Pasagno.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson-Stridick.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Mr. Decker.
Yes.
Mr. Testa.
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you all very much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Boy.
Next application, please, and I may mispronounce this. Adis Incorporated at 1317 Beach Avenue. So one thing to mention is these folks came before us in the review committee on a Tuesday morning, and what they're submitting is exactly what they had shown to us.
Good evening.
Good evening. Please state your name and your role in the project.
Good evening, Francesca.
Please, yes, just hit that button.
Good evening, I'm Francesca Santoro, President and CEO of Addis Inc. This is our architect representing the company, Bill McLeese.
Good evening.
Good evening. The floor is yours.
So, as you mentioned, I believe some of your commission members are aware of some of the details of the application because our client came before you in one of the informal sessions. The proposal before you is to position 5 pergolas in front of the existing restaurant along Beach Avenue. 4 of them would be 12 by 14, and 1 of them will be 10 by 12. We prepared a site plan which shows their locations, and an enlarged plan on that sheet shows the reasoning behind why there's one that's smaller than the others. In addition to that, there's also a, and correct me if I'm wrong, Francesca, but it's custom constructed planter
Yes.
with flowers proposed to be planted. And all of this was kind of envisioned to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the country coming up. So the planter organizes red, white, and blue flowers in the shape of the American flag, which will be on an angle and visible from Beach Avenue. The pergolas were initially intended to be temporary, but it is our understanding that there is a preference that they be permanent, so we're happy to kind of pursue that. Those pergolas will be also planted, they will be planted with mandevilla, and the lighting that's currently at that terrace will be reworked to obviously accommodate the pergolas, but will continue to be there. There are cut sheets that are provided for the pergolas and detailed drawings of the custom planter that is proposed on the lawn. Planter will be removed after the season, and pergolas will stay.
So I noticed that on your application that you checked that this is a conceptual submission, or are you seeking final approval tonight? Okay, so everyone, we can change
So
this from
you have no
conceptual
other,
to
no other
final?
approvals to get for this?
Are there no implications with zoning?
We're going to go to.
We do have to go to planning board.
Yes.
We just found
Okay,
out
then we
after-
have to keep it at
After-
conceptual.
That's why it's
Okay.
conceptual.
Right.
Thank you.
Well, we just got lucky because we submitted all this to you and then found out we had to go to the planning board, so
It
you're right,
sometimes
we,
happens that
we're
way.
conceptual.
Yeah, okay, so it remains conceptual then, correct?
Correct.
Okay, Kevin, why don't we start with you?
We saw this, sorry, we saw this in the review committee. I think it reflects pretty accurately what we saw, so, you certainly should comment as we did. I think the pergolas seem to fit nicely in that area. They're appropriate with the plantings and so forth that go with it. I think the lighting was a question mark. We did ask about the dark sky initiative, so the lighting should be focused downward, not upward. Other than that, I don't have any comments.
Great. Steve?
Well, yesterday was the first time I saw this. I think it's excellent. My question, it's only temporary? You don't want to keep the pergolas?
The flag planter is only it's only temporary for the season, and it'll be taken down the week after Labor Day. We wanted to really maximize the 250th anniversary of our country. We thought the flag planter was also a good tribute to the country and also a good photo op for everybody as they're turning the corner.
Well, thank you.
I love the flag planter. As long as it's temporary, I wonder what the blue flowers are going to be, so I can't wait to see it.
It's blooming right now.
Really? Okay. Oh, it's out there now?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, I'll have to go see it. So I'm not familiar with these. Are these the things that people buy that have their vines, the mandevilla? The actual plant?
They're a creeper bush, is my understanding.
Okay. I just can't imagine that they're going to grow like this over one season. Are they
It will take-
annuals or perennials?
They're annuals.
They're annuals. And I have a feeling you're going to come back and ask for some kind of roof structure.
Somewhat.
I don't think this is going to shade the tables every year if you put annuals in.
No, those are actually, well, they will continue to grow during the season, and also hopefully the off-season, they'll come back every season and grow.
So they're not,
lush.
so they're perennials, they're not
My
an annual plant? I don't think so.
We may have a
either.
landscaping disagreement here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, I have a feeling that if the plantings don't completely cover your pergolas, your clients are gonna, are gonna be out in the sun, and the whole point of your project is to shade those tables. I think it's very nice.
It's a perennial, I just looked it up.
It is? Okay. So then that'll happen then by a couple of years, and it'll just look beautiful. And we're sure it's not an invasive species?
No.
No, I don't, I mean, we can verify it for you, but I don't,
Yeah, I would like that verified. But otherwise, I think it's a lovely plan and a celebration of the 250th. Thank you.
I think by their nature, motels are really just kind of boxy, cinder block structures, and they're really kind of cold. I think by introducing wood, kind of softens the building, and then again, with the landscaping on top, I think it really softens it, and it'd be a nice pedestrian experience as well.
Thank you.
I love the way it looks. My experience with Mandevilla is they don't survive our winters, but I could be wrong. Maybe there's a hardy one that I don't know about. The corner here, are these flags?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's temporary as well, and that's for
Okay.
the 250th anniversary,
No,
so we
it's
turn the
very
corner.
festive. It looks wonderful.
you.
Everything you guys do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think they need our permission to put the flags up on the corner, though.
No,
But,
I just noticed
this is a really, and I looked at it and I thought, well, that's great. The hotel lights are blue, white, and orange.
Red.
But I'm sure you meant that to be red.
Right.
This is such a large property that, and the scope of what we're doing here is to just be sure that as a non-contributing structure, and it doesn't in any way interfere with streetscape, it doesn't work to the derogation of the building or the neighborhood, but let's face it, you're right across the street from the beach. And that may actually have some effect on whether these things do grow, even though they're technically perennials. So be aware that if they don't, you're going to have some pretty open pergola for you guys. Is this because this is an extension of people coming out for the restaurant? Is that the idea? They're going to?
Yes, people come out there and they sit, and usually it gets the sun beating on you, and umbrellas are difficult to be moving around constantly because of the sun, trip and fall hazards. So the pergolas really fit and soften the look and the facade of the building.
Right, and do I understand that the flag, the flower flag, that's temporary? The
Definitely. Correct.
pergolas are going to stay?
Correct.
That's right, you're intending on having a permanent
Yes.
pergola facade here in front of the restaurant. Think it's proportionate, and it works well with, as Jake said, to soften an otherwise non-wood building with some wood. Mr. Carroll.
Well, as somebody who's been on this board, I think, longer than anybody now, I can tell you there's been many times when La Mer has come before us with extensions of what we already thought was an overbuilt property, the most massive hotel on the beachfront. We got knocked down several times by the zoning board giving permission for things that we didn't. But in this case, I think we're looking at something that really could soften that front edge and take away from the 4-foot height behind it. I don't know if the flowers will exist or stay blooming, but at least those pergolas, wood down low, would be a stepstone to that. So I will go along with this one and not protest.
Thank you.
I just love this rendering that I'm looking at. It goes with the celebration of the 250th and what the city is doing to celebrate all of that. I love the flag in all of the floral. Just a couple of quick questions. It was temporary, now temporary patio surface, and then the details that we have it's a patio, and then we're not doing a step up to get to the flooring like we have on this.
No,
It's-
that's just, that's the illustration of.
That's an illustration of
The
it,
actual
okay. So when
pergola
you're
we're
walking out of the restaurant, you're going to be on the same.
Yes.
Flush.
Same flush, so you're not, okay. Yeah, I think it's a wonderful soft look. Just research a little bit about the
Vanderbilts.
Yeah, the landscaping piece of it, but I applaud you for having this wonderful festive
Yeah.
part of the facade of the building.
It'd be a lot easier to keep the landscape growing than to get a roof from us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
No, we prefer to
point
have
was
it because
made
it's
over
soft.
here, I think. So let's be clear. We're talking about these really good-looking pergolas, growth on them, all nature, shading the guests, but we're not talking about the precursor to a roof application.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yep.
John, can I make, I'm sorry. Can I make one more comment? First of all, it's not considered invasive. I just looked it up on the internet as well. But it is a tropical perennial, and it's grown in warm climates, USDA zones 9 to 11, so it won't tolerate frost. So your choice is really either think about something else, because we certainly have plenty of frost, or grow it in pots, and then at the end of the season, cut it back, take the pots indoors, bring it back out, and they'll grow again the following year.
I have options for you.
I was just talking with Commissioner Stridick, and we was thinking maybe if you could just do a green roof with something that would be evergreen year-round, and then maybe in the summer, you put annuals in for color as an option.
Yeah.
But the easiest are all the invasives.
Another option would be to put some kind of canvas, temporary canvas in the summer that can come off, that laces onto the pergola, which is pretty typical. We have those sail things around. It's not going to look as good as the flowers, but I'll be very surprised if those flowers cover the whole pergola. I think it would be fabulous if it does.
There's other species we can look at. I know that we've used, there's trumpet creepers, but I was going to suggest, I think it's Japanese hydrangea, which I've done arches before that fully grew over in a matter of, a few years.
Well, I mean, you know the environment.
Yeah.
We're talking, and although no one would believe it was 95 degrees elsewhere in the state today, we do have frost, we do have some cold winters, and you certainly have tons of salt
Yes.
coming off the ocean. But, this is conceptual approval. So you have time
Yeah.
to think about this, come back. If there's some alternative or some things you want to propose that are different from this plant, you can specify that in your final application.
Yeah, okay.
Another option might be coral honeysuckle, something like that. That's a native as well.
And also a pollinator.
Yeah, and that'll continue, that'll winter over.
It'll grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are different ways, there are different organizations that establish planting zones. One's the U.S. gardening zones, the other's the USDA hardiness zone. Depending on which one you look at, well, there's 13 zones. We are either here in 6 or 7B, depending upon which one of those you use. So all I would like to suggest is that when you come back for final, if you could propose
Something that's going to work.
something that you're sure will be
Yep.
withstand the conditions of our hardiness or planting zone, depending on which one you look at, okay? I do only have one other question, and that is there any lighting associated with these pergolas?
Not associated with the pergolas. There are string lights that are existing today over the terrace that's there. So we're going to rework them with the pergolas. So it'd be the same lighting that's
Okay.
already there.
I just had a question regarding the string lighting. Was that ever brought in front of the commission?
I think that was
I think
before
that
the planning board, actually.
Okay.
I think we came before you and the planning board
Yeah,
for that
because I know,
terrace.
like, generally,
Yeah.
I don't think, that string lighting is appropriate when it's permanent, but
I must say, I recollect the pool, I recollect the fire pits, I recollect the extension of the restaurant. I don't recollect the lights, but
Okay, so what I would propose then is entertaining a motion for you folks that is conceptual approval with the following to be resolved at the final approval. One is the removal date of the flag temporary planter, I might suggest September 15th. That gives you,
That's exactly the date I was.
that'd be great.
Right.
Second is the verification of, I'll call it, climate applicable perennial native plantings. And third would be clarification of the lighting you're proposing for the pergolas.
Okay.
That would be the substance of the conceptual motion. Would anybody like to make that motion?
I will make that.
I will second
Did
it.
you just make the motion? or-
Motion made by Mr. Carroll.
All right, so seconded here,
We have a second already from Ms. Pasagno.
before the motion was made. I yield to you.
Oh, so yielded.
I couldn't improve on it. Why should I say anything?
Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Ms. Pasagno?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Tredick?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Tecker? Testo?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think it'll be quite wonderful.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Is this a little early
Memorial
for,
Day weekend.
Yes, you too.
No rain.
early for us to get giddy, but we're doing it.
We're doing it. So our next applicant, please. Cape Anita LLC, 918 Stockton Avenue. Good evening. If you would please state your name and your role in the project. Mr. Scarpa?
Yes, Joseph Scarpa, I'm with the Highland Group. I'm the project architect representing Cape Anita, and which is Mary Thomas.
I just want to, oh, I'm sorry.
Ty Ellis, project architect with the Highland Group as well.
Great. Mr. Scarpa, just want to be sure that you have authorization from the owner to represent them this evening?
Absolutely in writing, yes.
Okay.
I did bring one more exhibit just because it has a center perspective that may help in helping, so I thought this one is not in your packet.
Very good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you're not aware, this is, the presentation is 918 Stockton Avenue, located in the residential seasonal district and the southern portion of the historic district. This building is a contributing building. Mary Thomas acquired this 1890s folk Victorian November of last year. The home currently is a multiple dwelling unit, currently serving 3 units. Mary intends to reduce this to 2 units. One unit will occupy the 3rd floor. Mary and her disabled son will occupy the lower 2 stories of the home. As you can see from the documents provided, the exterior of the home is in need of repair and has been for a while. In addition to the home's exterior renovation, the project proposes an elevator addition to the rear of the home to access all floors, an ADA accessible ramp on the eastern facade, and multiple-story rear decks. A portion of the first floor will be removed in order to install the new elevator and its machine room. The existing 3-story wood egress stair that's now in the back of the home will be removed and replaced with the rear decks and new staircase. ADA ramp will switch back from the rear to the first habitable deck and act as an emergency egress. All mechanical equipment will be screened from the public's view. And additional, there's a carriage-style door will be added to the rear to access the underside of the home. Additional parking area has been provided in the rear as well. All new development are conforming with the Cape May zoning ordinance and will not require any zoning variance. So I would propose this as a final, if possible.
Mr. Scarpa?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, but have you confirmed that with the zoning officer?
I have not confirmed it, but I followed all the conformance requirements, and we're well under a lot of the requirements.
So,
The existing building, another portion of it, the existing building will be raised so that the first habitable floor is at an elevation of 12 feet, which is 3 feet above the base flood elevation, as New Jersey, would be a New Jersey mandate. This will raise the building only a foot higher than it exists currently. In doing so, the building's foundation will be reconstructed. The intent of raising the building is to provide adequate access to the elevator from the exterior, as well as to protect the building from future flood damage. Directly to the left of the property, on the corner of Stockton Avenue and Queen Street, is a 2.5-story building with a first habitable floor roughly at the proposed elevation. So the one where we're asking to raise it, that first floor is going to be now equal with the one that's on that corner of Queen and Stockton. And to the west is a 1.5-story bungalow with approximately the same floor level as the building currently is situated. The bungalow remains at the level for 4 homes until the home starts to enlarge again, I believe at 906 Stockton Avenue. So I have a few, because this way you can kind of see the differences between these. All these pictures are taken directly across the street on the sidewalk at the same position throughout the ones you're seeing in your packet. So you can kind of see as it kind of starts off larger, goes down to the 4 bungalows, then starts to step up until it's back pretty much at each end, bookending the thing. So it exists right there. The Folk Victorian has simple detailing, as which would be intended for the style of this building. We propose maintaining this aesthetic around all 4 sides of the building, incorporating these features into the new deck and ADA ramp. The existing railings, decking, and ornamental bracketing will be repaired and/or replaced as needed. The current asbestos siding will be removed. If the clapboard siding is consistent and in good condition, it will be repaired. If not, a painted cementitious siding will be installed. The upper scalloped frieze board and exposed rafter tails will be repaired and painted as required. Asphalt shingles will be replaced to match the new roofed addition to the rear. We felt since the building was having a slight small roof to the back, we would just redo all the shingles, which are already existing asphalt. The new foundation will be applied with a smooth stucco finish with square lattice between the porch and the ramp piers. Windows and exterior doors will be replaced as specified in the documents provided. Custom batten tongue and groove style shutters will be added with actual iron shutter hardware. A gable bracket will be added to replace the current little square vent located on the front gable. And the new stair has been turned side to side as not to protrude into the front yard of the property now that it's being elevated 1 foot. I think the only thing that I would say that I think there is, one thing that I feel is different is the plot plan that I provide. I'm showing concrete drive, kind of like a tire wheel concrete and a concrete walkway. Mary doesn't intend to use concrete. The idea is to use a grass paver for the portion of the driveway into the back, and then a standard paver for the walkway to the back. And I would take any questions.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Scarpa. Mr. Harron, would you like to begin, please?
In the materials checklist, there's a reference to fiber cement siding, James Hardy, which I assume is Hardy plank, and a custom wood gel win, which is fine. The siding, I just want to make clear that I understand that. Is that like a cedar siding, or is that a wood?
James Hardy is considered like a cementitious siding that's painted, so it has a wood aesthetic to it.
Okay, in a contributing property, typically we require an all-wood siding material, same with windows and doors, trim around them.
Yeah, currently, it's asbestos siding all around the house.
And that wouldn't change the fact that our standards would require a wood construction, because that's what's typical of the time and era of the house. It's really a fundamental requirement in the standards for contributing properties, contributing and key contributing.
I would agree that that would look good, but I mean, if, now that it has asbestos on it, are you required to take the asbestos down at that point?
Were you not planning to take it down?
Yeah.
Well, we would like to, and see if it's in size, but again, you know, I mean, I could speak to the client to see if that would be something she'd be willing to do. I mean, really, the real intent is take it off and there's something behind it that could be restored. That would be great and consistent, because we don't
You
know.
don't know
As it
what's-
gets
that
to the
would be
back, it
ideal.
could get odd.
You don't know what's
Sure.
under the asbestos
Correct.
now?
No, we do not know what's.
So we can clarify this. You are not required to remove the asbestos siding. However, you have listed a synthetic material for fascia, soffit, siding, window trim, and that would not be permitted on a contributed home. So that would all need to be wood.
Anything new would.
Anything new would need to be wood, whether you remove the siding or not. Although we would strongly encourage, if possible,
Absolutely.
to remove the asbestos siding and do clapboard, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So I think that's what Kevin was trying to point out.
Right. And, you know, that really applies to RLast and hardy plank. Those are both synthetic materials usually, so. Question about the shutters that are shown on the second and third floors of the residence. Are those shutters typical of what you would have found on the house at that time and place of construction?
The home is a Victorian folk, simple in nature, and also, given that its shore location, it has better shore aesthetic. So we feel that this would be, while we haven't found anything that would have been particular exact to that, I think that the nature of it being simple in its character, and the fact that that board feels more shore secure.
Okay. I'm just curious if the design choice is, you know, of that era, and whether it's, and they, you know, again, I'm assuming they're working shutters that could actually.
Yes,
close.
correct.
Okay. Is there a reason for reorienting the front steps? The original house would have had the steps going straight up. Is there a rationale for reorienting?
Well, the building, we were looking back and forth on different ways we could elevate the home. We settled on the height that we came to, and we felt that if we hold the steps at the thing, that we feel like it would be coming out too far aesthetically. So we notice along that street, there are multiple steps that turn side to side, even with different multiple landings. So you have an aesthetic, different amounts of types of steps on that street, in that one block.
So you have variation already
Yeah, so we
existing.
felt that would have been, rather than just coming out further, it'd be better suited that.
Would you have been encroaching into the setback zone?
No, I
by
would
coming
not be
straight out?
encroaching in the setback. If I kept it straight, it would have been within the setback.
Okay. And then just typically in most of these kind of applications, we usually ask that we see some kind of a lighting plan and landscaping plan. So just, those can come to our small group, and usually they're dealt with there. Okay. I'm done, John.
Okay. B.
This is just a question that I'm curious about. The ADA compliance, this is just on the first floor?
Just on the first floor, obviously, there's an elevator that's servicing all floors, but just the landing, I mean, the ramp just gets you up to the first floor, correct? Yes.
Can I jump back in? I'm sorry.
Yes.
On the ramp, can you tell me how that ramp works? I see in the proposed drawing that you just gave us.
Yeah.
It comes down.
Yeah, but it's hard to see the entrance.
Yeah, and then
Yes,
does it
it's-
wrap back around on itself and go
It's-
toward the back of the house? Is
It's
that?
very interesting. So the idea is when the user shows up with a vehicle, she's able to unload the individual, well, he can practically unload himself, but he goes through an opening on what would be I guess that would be the western side, and you can get directly underneath the house at that time, under shelter, with any type of thing. The ramp is actually accessed towards the underside of the building, and then goes up and then comes back around to the to the front of the end.
I was really trying to follow that.
Yeah, it was like 3 versions of that till we came up with that orientation.
I echo some of Kevin's comments. I'd have to see some kind of proof that these shutters are historically accurate for this house because they don't appear to be to me. They look like barn door shutters, and I don't think they'd be appropriate for this house. I want to thank you for giving us existing and proposed renderings. This is so helpful. Your presentation was great. I actually really like this with the rear porches, echoing the front porches. I think it looks like something a Victorian would have done. I think it looks really nice. It is a contributing house. I agree with everything that John and Kevin said about the wood. I
agree.
think if you do an exploratory with the asbestos, you will find out that there's clapboard underneath, and we would, of course, prefer that be replicated or repaired.
Yeah, my only fear is that if taken off that, because all restoration of things have changed, we've seen that, but I do agree.
Yeah, I would just like you to provide some kind of a cut sheet regarding the pavers and the grass pavers. It's clearly stated in our standards what type of paving materials are appropriate in a historic district. We really don't like the new modern interlocking octagonal ones. Look at the standards, will tell you what is acceptable. Also, just regarding your windows, on the description on the cut sheet, it says the grills are between the glass, or would that be
Yes.
an external?
Well, there's external ones, but it's actually, the grills do show, they provide the spacers, so it
Okay,
doesn't.
so that's the spacer, it's not in between
Correct,
the
yes.
glasses.
I
Perfect.
believe they call it simulated divider.
Well, wait a minute. I think we want to be really clear that they're actually simulated divided lights, because some of the manufacturers, there's not a surface mullion. It's just recessed in the half-inch between the glass.
No,
That's what we don't want.
No, we want simulated divided.
Yeah, good.
Exterior.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I also marked the shutters as, when I look at the proposed, they don't, we talk about the shutters are the same size as the windows when they close. And that may just be an error on the drawing. It looks like they're too wide. But also the style doesn't match the style of shutters for this period. I'm also curious about the elevation and the parking underneath. Is the house currently, that's introducing a new development for that house, right? Or is there already parking underneath?
No, when the house gets elevated, and the main intent is not really just to access the back of the home. So the home is, we would like, the idea is if there was room to get underneath of it, again, to provide more cover, but it is located in the back of the house, and it will emulate a carriage-style door.
Because we are constantly asked for increasing elevation
Oh,
for parking
absolutely.
underneath. And this is definitely not part of our design standards, but that's why I had to ask that question. And I noticed when it referred to the elevation, it said DFE.
The design flood elevation, so your BFE is at 9 feet. A design elevation would be 3 feet above the first floor would be your design flood elevation. So bringing that.
Well, I'll leave that up to the architects. Thank you. It really is a nice design, and this is awesome. I wish all of our applicants did this for us.
When?
It's pretty clear. I mean, this is one of those circumstances where the design here is, I think, a considerable improvement all around, and we're presented with a materials sheet that is just not appropriate for the contributing structure that it is. So this is going to be one of those things that if we approve, it's going to have a materials cut sheet substantially revised to show a lot of things. And that does give me a little pause about whether that all goes in front of the review committee, because basically we're revising an awful lot of the material sheet. And so I'm concerned. I have no real problems with the designs. I echo I think those shutters look terrible. They look like checkerboard square. But if they're sustainable as a historic matter, and you want to prove that,
Okay.
that's okay. But I think there's sort of fairly consistent criticism of the choice of those front shutters. So I'd give that a think about redesigning them. The rest of it to me is really nicely done in terms of the porches. The back couldn't have been better to be improved the way you've improved it now. So we'll deal with the material sheet in some way when we get to
I'm
framing.
agreeing with everything I've been hearing. It's interesting that the shutters who've got the most consideration here, there is no cut sheet on them. Because they're pretty darn ugly looking. They remind me of some things. The further south you go into hurricane country, the uglier these machinery things come. But I've seen things that can kind of curl up in almost to a top framing over a window that can be pulled down and not something that swings out to the side. If they really feel on that ocean side, that's really important to have that. Although we don't really have almost any other place in town that has put up that kind of shutter for protection.
Not on a contributing structure.
Not on contributing structures, yeah. So that, and I think everybody else has brought up all the other things, a lot more details. You heard my little speech on how railings have to be and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And so all those things need to be identified.
Okay. Again, what everybody said here, but I have a question about the base flood elevation. Are you, I thought I heard you in the beginning say that you're raising it only a foot?
Foot from what, to get to that level.
Okay.
That we're looking at 12, what would be an elevation of 12. That's a date, it's an elevation marker.
Right.
That existing building has to be raised just a foot and some change, like a couple, it's something.
So you're looking at about 2 steps, and I'm talking about the entrance coming in.
Correct.
Okay, so you're looking at maybe 2 steps as far as additional.
Yeah, they are shallow steps, but yes, some to that nature.
So I'm thinking about 2 steps, and looking at some of these pictures, and when I drove by the property, I didn't look at that in a way, as far as the steps, as far as raising it, what you would need to come out. I just feel that the front elevation of that with the steps coming directly forward makes it more inviting.
Okay.
And I don't know if you would, like you said, you're not going to encroach into the front yard setback. I think that, taking a look at the way that that's designed, I would like you to possibly look at that again. And
I know we've had a lot of questions, but I've got to give you a little bit of a compliment, that I think you've done a good job with the window fenestration. It's a lot more symmetrical, pleasing to the eye.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a nice looking.
yeah.
You're saying front steps, front porch.
Front steps, I'd like them, to come. Instead of coming and doing a 90-degree turn. Yeah.
Centered on the front of the house.
Actually, it's off to the right.
Yeah, to the right.
It's off to the right, which
I thought you were
follows the main, the front door off to
I
the
think
right.
Tom was redesigning the.
Oh, I think as you're looking at the front elevation off to the right, and really going by this house quite a bit, looking at what your proposal is for the rear of the building, and you can see that from Beach Drive. This is just a really beautiful design.
Thank you.
Yeah, mimicking the front of the house as well.
I think the overall house, the simplicity of what the folk Victorian is, really holds really well.
And then the shutters, of course, that was, yeah. I think you got.
Nobody likes them.
So, gentlemen, to segue from Ms. Baldwin, it's very nicely done.
Thank you.
However, there's a bunch of stuff that still has to be resolved, and I have a few to add. Okay? If you look at the west elevation, which is shown on HPC 202, One of the things that we ask for when there's an addition like this that's it's written explicitly in our standards is be able to differentiate what exists from what doesn't. So if you look at the bottom right-hand elevation on HPC 202, where that former roof and edge of the house would have come down, here, I can show you easier on a little, see that little dash line right there? Some
Yes.
sort of differentiation there, Joe.
Okay,
And it could simply be like a 1x4 trim board that separates the siding between the existing and the new, just to differentiate it. So it could theoretically, according to how it's written in our standards, be removed and the existing house could stay.
okay.
Theoretically.
It actually will hold the geometry better of the hip roof.
It actually, I think, would help you.
Yeah.
It's aesthetically, yeah? The other thing is, it looks as if, and correct me if I'm wrong here, that you're parging over the brick chimney that's currently in the front gable?
The brick chimney, I would assume, right now it's parged over, right now.
The back one is, but the front one is not, that I can tell. Maybe I'm mistaken, but when I looked at the photographs, it looks as if the chimney that is in the middle of the perpendicular gable.
The one closest to the front of the
Yeah,
house.
the one that's closest to the front of the house. It appears as if it's got brick, because it's got a very nice brick detail on the top.
I know that was one thing I took a look at because of, and again, it might be distorted by the photos.
Yeah.
And I know the cut sheet talks about it being brick.
Okay.
On the cut sheet.
Well, it does.
But when I look at it, I'm trying to say,
Okay, so this is one of the reasons I have actually, there's a list of 14 issues here.
Okay.
That I think we have to address, and I think we can list them in the conceptual approval, assuming, based on what I hear here, the conceptual approval is highly likely. And I'll come back to the biggest issue, but we'll come back to it. The historical property report talks about exposed rafter tails, and it appears as if they're staying, but I can't tell from either the renderings or the elevations, because it looks like the rafter tails are behind a fascia, right? So I just want to make sure the rafter tails are staying, yes?
absolutely.
And
Repaired if any are damaged.
and in the addition, you'll be using the rafter tails as well?
In the addition, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
perfect, okay. The application also lists the installation of a generator and a new HVAC system. So would that require new outdoor condensers?
The AC condensers are located on the roof portion, on
Okay.
the upper level.
Great. So what about the generator?
The generator is located.
Same place.
You put a generator on the roof?
Yeah.
Fair enough. The concern is that I would just make it clear in the application that any exterior condensers or generators are not visible from the street, and if they are, to be screened with our privacy lattice in accordance with our standards. Got it? Okay. Are there any new lighting fixtures that you're planning on installing?
No.
No? Okay. So I can take 13 issues, take that one off the list. One of the other things that it talks about in the report is that these columns are still existing that were originally the chamfered columns.
Absolutely.
So that's not stated anywhere in your submission, that you've got a significant amount of new columns, given the porches in the back. Will those also be chamfered columns?
Yes.
Okay.
correct.
Just want to make sure that that's included in your application. That should be either a cut sheet or a detail, something that verifies that.
Got it.
Okay? And everything else has been listed, so I'll go through all 13 of these for our solicitor.
And the rest of us.
Yeah? This would not be for, these are not conditions. This is just recommendations for moving from conceptual to final, so.
If they're not, I think the testimony right now is that they don't have to go to the zoning board or planning board for this. But I have to say that I would like to see that as a condition.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you are or you don't or whatever, but we have seen some seemingly downstream conversions going from multifamily to single family, and even those required a board application due to new setback relief with existing non-conforming conditions. I'm not going through that in here. I'm just flagging it as an issue, and it can be something that you confirm with the zoning officer that you don't have to go any further than.
Okay, so it would just be a confirmation.
Well, what I was going to suggest is we have a laundry list of things that, shutters, what is going on with the chimney.
I'll repeat it for you.
But are we, if we're not ready for a final tonight with a bunch of conditions, maybe what we consider is all that stuff can be confirmed, and the applicant can come back with a clean revised plan that it has all this stuff in it, so that we don't have to pick this apart and send it to the review committee. You can confirm with the zoning officer that you don't have to go any further. And then what we approve is the SCARPA plan revised as of whatever date with all that stuff on it. So we're not having to do some homework afterwards.
So I
I think
think-
that's cleaner for the applicant, it's cleaner for the board, cleaner for the zoning
Well,
officer.
But one thing is, it doesn't, unless we actually list the suggestions or conditions.
I'm not suggesting we don't list it.
Because we would normally do that in a conceptual.
I wasn't trying to stop that. I was just, the result of that discussion may be the best thing would be that the applicant gets to go back and talk about the materials with the client, confirm, hey, we're going to do wood for all this stuff.
So I think what our solicitor is proposing is one of two options. So I am also a bit concerned about the zoning approval. I think we need to have that confirmed more than just your belief that zoning doesn't have any issues, right? So I think we can either grant conceptual review with all of these issues that you will address, you go to zoning, then you come back to final, or we could table this.
To come back at a
To come back so that you wouldn't have to wait 2 more months. It could expedite the process for you. So, for example, if you go and visit zoning and you get confirmation that there's no zoning issues, and you have between now and our next meeting to address these 13 issues I'm about just to summarize for you, you could revise the drawings and come back to us for a final, so you
For a
don't...
final. So this
Yes.
wouldn't be a conceptual, it'll just be coming back again.
So what I'm suggesting is you have, I think, 2 options. One is we could give you conceptual approval tonight, likely, we haven't voted on it yet, with these recommendations, or we table it, and then you just come back next month with a zoning confirmation and revised drawings that incorporate these 13, we give you a final approval.
You could end up with a clean final or
Right.
a very clean conceptual.
Understood.
if you need the-
Right.
Yes, I think at that point, let's table it, because it's the same time constraint, possibly even cleaner, and then because it makes people comfortable, we'll check it with zoning.
It makes it a lot, I think, I agree with our solicitor, this makes it a lot cleaner for you, but there's a concession you
Well,
make in order to do that.
It makes it simpler to do.
Correct.
But if there does turn out to be a need to approach another board, conceptual approval is a tool that's often used to say to that other board, it's been through the commission, and here it's received. I mean, there's pros and cons for each
So
thing.
if you do need to go to the board, it's better to find out now than.
Oh, no,
And if you find out, then you would need a conceptual anyway, and in which case you'd have a really good conceptual approval teed up.
I get you.
Because you have all this revisions. So I think it benefits the applicant either way to just kind of come in, clean this up, and either you get a very final-looking conceptual, or maybe you're ready for final because you don't need to go any further with zoning, and all this stuff has been cleaned up in a revised plan.
Absolutely. That's fine.
So that's up to you.
That's fine. I think it's probably the best fit.
Which one?
To table it.
Okay, so
Look, do you want to, let's go through the.
I'll just go through the list real
Yes,
quick, right?
absolutely.
So shutters with cut sheets.
John, can I I want to ask Tom something. Did these folk Victorians, did they ever have shutters? Because, you don't have to add shutters to a house that doesn't have shutters. I kind of like the way it looks without the shutters. I think it's got lots of fenestration. In your opinion, do folk Victorians have shutters? I'm going to go home and look at my book for next time, to be sure. Most shutter,
There's a very good chance that all these houses we look at from that era
had shutters. Okay,
because they used them to control
Right.
light and airflow and
okay.
even shut and bolted and first floor shutters were generally solid.
They
so you
were,
could
that's
bolt
right.
them for security.
Correct, okay.
Can I ask a question about the shutters, just so, then this might help the applicant? What is it about the shutters that the board is concerned about? Is it the design, is it the size? Because we've talked about bifold shutters before, that don't necessarily cover the whole width of the window, but they do
They
fold.
unfold.
Yeah, so I just want to present that, and maybe that might help the applicant kind of inform what they come back with, too. I don't know if there's any suggestions there.
So I think what I heard was that the design of the shutters appears inappropriate for this house because it's a series of slats with a a wood bar nailing them together.
That would be my view.
I mean, I would like to see some examples of folk Victorian houses with shutters, which can't be that hard to find when you come
Oh.
back.
You got some research going on right now.
Nothing for myself.
And that would be great. Then we would feel we were, approving an appropriate style shutter for this house.
Okay, so run down this list then. Shutters with either details or cut sheets of the shutters you're proposing. Wood for fascias, siding, window trim, doors, columns, railings, and brackets. Windows are still unclear, based upon the cut sheets you've given us, whether they're exterior primed, because it gives us a bunch of colors, but those appear to be clad colors as opposed to primed.
They're
So,
primed, yeah, but okay.
but it
That's-
doesn't.
yeah, definitely, we'll,
Yeah, the problem is that manufacturer makes both, so the cut sheets that were given to us don't explicitly state that they're wood exterior primed. That's all we need to see. And the same thing with the SDLs, the simulated divided lights.
Just to clarify that it's not simply a thin piece of plastic between the,
No, and you would get there by revising your materials sheet to cross-reference specifically to the cut sheet that shows the window that you're going to do, or any other material.
Okay. Mr. Scarpa is quite aware of what simulated divided lights are. Yes. Right? So I just want to get through the list here, guys, right? Differentiate the rear addition on the west elevation on HPC 202, like we talked about, right? Brick chimney at the front. Exposed rafter tails verified. We can take the generator condenser locations off the list because they are out of view from the street, correct? Chamfered columns, details to match the existing. Paver cut sheets. Railing details, as you heard Mr. Carroll speak of earlier.
just real quick, on HPC 104.
Yep.
There's a couple things that outline the columns, chamfered, the railings, and there are some dimensions on those shutters as well, even though.
So this is very close to what we need. It shows us the spacing, or it doesn't show us the spacing dimension. It just shows us the 2-inch wood balusters for the railings, right?
But not the space between.
Not the spacing between
Not the
them.
4-inch max.
But Mr. Carroll is saying that our policy is 3 inches, even though code allows you 4. That's just much more common for the homes here in Cape May, right? Okay.
I'd just like to point out, page 28 of our standards, Ms. Pisagno pointed out, it says, "The addition or removal of window shutters should be based on documentary historical evidence and adjacent precedent houses." There it is. Thank you.
And lastly, actually, second to last, is reconsidering shifting the stairs to continue to project forward rather than turning 90 degrees, if it in fact would be permissible within the setbacks for zoning. And I think that there's even an exception to that that will allow you to do that if you're raising the house with the latest zoning. There was an amendment to zoning that would allow for steps to protrude into the setback if it had to be raised for flood purposes, yeah? And then the last one is, I want to understand the response to what Ms. Wilson-Sturdick's question was. Are you planning on actually parking under the home?
The intent is, I would like to say that there's always an intent to park if there's a space there. Is there a problem with that happens?
Well, not necessarily if the entrance to the garage or whatever that's what I'm getting to, is from the side or the rear.
Right.
But if I had to use my magnifying glass here to read this, not your fault, but it looks like grade is only 7 feet 5 inches below first floor raised floor, and if you take the joists out of that, that means you're only going to have like
small car.
less than 7 feet.
It'll be very shallow.
It's going to be really shallow. So the question is whether you'd even be permitted by code to park underneath it, because you would have probably only about 6'8", 6'9" clear, right? So I would just check that. And the reason I'm asking that is because I think you said that you were proposing, and I think there's an image here that these look like carriage doors going.
Yes,
in.
correct.
So that would be one
An
last.
overhead door would be very hard to get under
course.
those clearances.
And the carriage doors are perfectly acceptable. But that was the last thing on the list. It would be the, some sort of cut sheet of the carriage doors you're proposing, if in fact, and that's why I had to go through, are you parking underneath it, if there in fact are carriage doors.
Okay.
Whew, there's the 13 issues.
So what would you like to do?
I believe that Mr. Scarpa is requesting us to table this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best way, because I'd rather have a clean thing, everybody be comfortable with it. Because otherwise, I'd be coming back here and you'd be going through all these items,
Well, you'll be,
you know, and
you'll
hoping
be
I hit it.
going through the items in an improved and addressed manner. The important part is whether we're conceptual or we table it, that you got a complete list, and that you have. So if you would like to have it tabled, I will make a motion to table the application, subject to the waiver of the 45-day rule.
I'll
Can I-
second
Can I
it.
just, can
I
I
guess
just,
you-
real quick, before there's a second, or just, there is a detriment to tabling this.
There is.
And I want to make sure that the applicant understands that, and if Mr. Gillen Schwartz could please, do you understand the detriment to tabling it?
Absolutely. We're
Okay.
coming back here all
Okay,
together.
I just want to make sure.
And I don't, and anything that would have been conceptual would have been approved as conceptually and held on. So coming back again means I'm open to looking at it again.
Or if you don't have conceptual, and if you have to go to another board,
Oh, yeah, the
They're
time.
not, they're not ready for that anyway, though. So they, like, if you have to go to another board, this board is not going to slow you down.
Correct.
You're going to find out within the next 30 days whether you need to go or not. You're either going to come back here for a final, or if you do need to go to the board, you're going to come back and you're going to potentially be considered for conceptual. You're going to have a
Right.
letter from us the following month. You're going to have that well before you're ready to go into the board anyway. So, and we would get that information to the board so that we're not slowing you down.
My only thing that a question I have on tabling it is again, will even the zoning officer speak to me without a conceptual?
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah.
That
He's
would be
also
my
the
only
HPC compliance officer, so you're,
Which is why he'll speak to you.
Yeah, do a roll.
I think he's going to be happy to hear what happened today, because it's going to not require him to do a bunch of investigation about who said what, the when, you know, it's just going to lead to a cleaner decision for the applicant, for their project, and for us. So the only thing, and just from my standpoint, just need to confirm that the applicant is okay with waiving the time for decision. That's what we have to operate under. You know, we could make a decision tonight, but we'd rather make a better one in a month or so if you want to come back with that information. But I just want to confirm that you would waive that time to get us to that next meeting so that we can have this more, you know, flushed out discussion.
Yes.
That's the detriment you were speaking of, right, Lorraine? Yes. Is the waiving of the time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think Lorraine was concerned maybe about delay too.
if
right?
the delay, it could be up to a 30-day delay, because if they do have to, if you do have to go to another board, you're going to have to come back here and get conceptual.
But they would come back next month anyway, is what
They
I'm
w-
saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
They'll have an
Okay.
idea of where they're going and how long it'll take.
What conceptual would help you with is if you had to go before the zoning board to get some sort of variance or something
Right.
that is non-compliant. They would likely ask you, hey, do you have HPC conceptual approval? That's how it would help you.
Absolutely.
So if you're not planning on going to the zoning board between now and next month, then this is likely your
Well, you-
more
you
expeditious
could have
path.
your, you could have your expectation or conclusions confirmed that you don't need to.
Correct.
And if you do, the matter might be so simple that you don't really need our conceptual approval in detail to
Yes,
do
absolutely.
your other board work.
So, that clarify or to make it muddier?
Clarify, table.
I think
Yeah.
that I made a motion to table this.
Well, but I want to make sure that that's still acceptable.
I second
Still
it.
acceptable.
It is, okay.
But I just wanted to make one more suggestion, not to be in here, that in my 6 years on this commission, I've never seen an applicant come in with absolutely no exterior lighting. And, you know, I mean, even for safety reasons, it's just kind of peculiar. So you may want to double check, and if they do want to have exterior lighting, they should bring a lighting plan in with cut sheets.
Because Jake is going to ask you that when it comes to the, to the final approval.
Correct.
Hint, hint, wink, wink. Yeah. So do you have any other questions for us before we entertain our motion?
No, I'm fine. Thank you.
Yeah, you good? Okay, so we have a motion on the table to table this. Do I hear a second?
I second it.
So moved by Mr. Testa, seconded by Ms. Decker. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carroll.
Yes.
Ms. Bisagno.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Stridick.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Ms. Decker.
Yes.
Mr. Testa.
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes. Whew. Thank you. You good?
Yes.
All right. Hopefully
Yes.
that was helpful.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you
that's
all.
great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for sharing
Gentlemen,
us.
thank you. Okay, the next application is Huntington House LLC. That has been requested by the applicant to move to June. So if I could collect, please, the full application so that we can give them to Lauren, and she can just redistribute those next
Okay.
month.
And how about the other one that,
That was last. That's, we're hearing
still
that now.
hearing that.
I have to recuse myself.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
You have Huntington House?
Huntington House.
Put it together, pass it to Laura.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find it.
Already gave her mine.
I am. I have to go present. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next application on and last for this evening is from the USS Jacob Jones Memorial Foundation. I am, of course, needing to recuse myself from this because I am representing the applicant. So, Mr. Testa, I hand this over to you.
Yeah, please to take the chair again. So if, as soon as you've finished recusing yourself, if you will present yourself at the table and make the presentation for the memorial.
Good evening, everybody.
You,
First thing is, this project will be entirely funded by a nonprofit 501c3 organization, which is a bona fide 501c3 approved by the federal government, and that is the USS Jacob Jones Memorial Foundation. I'm here representing them. My role on the project is I am the project designer. I want to keep this pretty short, mainly because this has been presented for over a half an hour, twice, once on Zoom to the public on April 15th, and last, I guess that was May 5th, to City Council. And just want to walk it through real quick. I'll just go through page by page here fairly quickly in order. The front page is really the seal that we had a graphic designer create. The site for this is located directly across from the Grand Hotel, and it's important to understand that this property is outside the current definition of the local historic district because it's on the beach side of Beach Drive. It also is city-owned property. So we're not requesting a certificate of appropriateness because that wouldn't be appropriate, right? But what we are doing is, out of courtesy to HPC and the city, we want to make sure that this is presented to you and that it is in accordance with what you believe is appropriate or not. So I'm not quite sure what the process for that would be. That's for you guys to figure out.
if it's a city application, the equivalent of it would be an advisory report, right?
Yeah, this is kind of a unique case because I think council was presented with this at the last meeting, and sometimes the city's indifferent. I think and there's a resolution on tomorrow night to sort of endorse and join in this process, and it's going to end up being a city installation on city property. So I would consider this kind of like the Arches, quasi, but the city's taken an active role in this, in that it's going to be most likely supporting the design and the location on public property. So I would consider this more in the nature of a advisory type approval.
Well, the chair is going to rule that this is an advisory report request. So that's what
Okay.
you're here for.
There we go.
So I believe that all of you have already seen this, so I'll keep this as brief as possible. So the only request that was given to us by the owner of the Grand was that the memorial itself be located in front of the main mass of the hotel as opposed to in front of any of the rooms around the courtyard parking lot. So the next page just shows that blown up a little bit, where you see Beach Avenue being horizontal. The next page shows a site plan as well as a section. The section at the bottom of this page is likely the most important of the drawings. And you can see, it's kind of hard to see because of the scale of this, but there's a dashed line where it says existing grade. what's happening here is in that section, Beach Avenue, Beach Drive is to the left. Then there's a little 3-foot-high wooden bulkhead wall, then 28 feet of 1 to 5 grading of landscaping up to the new height of the promenade, which will be roughly 5 feet above the current grade that's there now. And at the back of that then is the cast-in-place bench with the concave back, and then it slopes back down to the beach. So what you have seen is that this is called the Portal to Freedom, and what's drawn into this is an 8-foot diameter portal through which you walk into the next page, which is the site plan, the floor plan. And the center line that runs right through this whole thing is directly aligned with the line that connects our site to the sinking site of the USS Jacob Jones, which was the first U.S. naval vessel sunk after Germany declared war on the United States during the Battle of the Atlantic on February 28, 1942. So at the middle of this memorial is that little circle that generates all these geometries is a 2-foot diameter bronze plaque. We are still seeking permission from the Navy to use bronze that was salvaged from the ship to melt it down and make that plaque. And that sits inside of the shape of the bow of the ship. And the bow of the ship is designed to replicate from the blueprints that we received from the Navy, the actual shape of the bow of the ship. And it's created with floating stainless steel frames that are slightly canted to suggest that the ship is sinking, and those are welded to 7-foot-high welded wire fences that are there in order to provide, not unlike these pergolas, except now vertically, a vertical wall of green planting, what I would call a living wall, using native pollinator planting, in this case, coral honeysuckle. That's then nested inside of another layer of 6 to 7-foot-high bayberries, also intended to serve local habitat. So the next drawing just shows a simple elevation of what it would look like from Beach Drive, but that's a little bit hard to grasp. It's really an architectural drawing. We'll show some renderings in a minute. The most important thing maybe for you guys on this drawing is that it shows a human. So you can see just to the right of the right portion of the fence, you can see the scale of it. And then the next drawing is what it would appear to look like from the promenade. The next two drawings, these were created in order for us to do materials takeoffs. These are what I would call nothing more than structural drawings. This is actually the beginnings of what are shop drawings that will be used to build this, which we're in the process of creating right now. Actually, we just finished them. But the very next drawing we start to see in plan, this one, we start to see that it is fully rendered in the context of the site and its planting. And this is a rather important plan to look at, because what's happening here is that line that runs right through the middle of it is actually a slight trough in the base of the concrete, and all the concrete slopes towards that, and it's tiled so it collects all the rainwater. So that rainwater is then brought into the planting beds on both sides of the platform. So what happens is this part right here is 1 foot above the promenade, so you go up 2 steps on one side or a ramp on the other side and arrive in the arrival space before you actually penetrate the 8-foot portal. And in that 8-foot portal, given the next drawing, are all 138 names are laser cut all the way through the thickness of that plate. And then there's another layer of plate, stainless steel plate around that, so when the sun diffuses around in that space, 6-inch space, it actually backlights these names. So the names are not dark or carved, they're actually illuminated in light, and at nighttime there's a low voltage, very dim LED light that will continue the backlighting. So now you see in the next drawing the first full rendering of it in 3 dimensions if you were hovering just a bit above Beach Drive. The next one shows that new wood bulkhead, so you can see it pretty much from eye height on Beach Drive. And then this next one, these next two can kind of be looked at together. And the reason for that is that at the back end of it, facing the ocean, is another portal on a stanchion that's 2 feet in diameter that you stick your face in to look directly out to the sinking site. But when the sun is in alignment directly with the sinking site on February 28th, perfect alignment to our site, that happens at 9:51 a.m., its altitude is 33 degrees, and that is placed such that when the sun passes through that circle, it precisely illuminates, on the next drawing, precisely illuminates the 2-foot diameter plaque, which symbolizes the Jacob Jones. And then the last couple of drawings or renderings are just what it looks like from the promenade side, and I think I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Becker. And I think that members of the commission have probably seen one or more of your presentations, but I do want to open it up for any comments relating to both the presentation, the memorial, anything else that the commissioners deem relevant to comment on at this point. And then we're going to have an open public comment period for the memorial. So fire away. Fire away with your microphone on.
I think it's a very clever design with the alignments and all that kind of thing. I realize that could have been done from sort of any location, but it's just a very well thought out, very interesting design. I also think it's a very personal design. This has you have a feel and touch to this, just as you would the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, and I think that's an important element to this too. It's a very individually connected design. I was present for the City Council hearing as well as the Zoom meeting. I think the presentations have been very nicely done, and at the Zoom meeting there was I don't think there was a single negative comment to it. It was all positive. And at the council meeting, it was a very well-received presentation. So that's just my 2 bits.
My question was about the Zoom meeting, because I did not make that, and I wanted to know the reception, and Kevin just answered it. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm in support of honoring these gentlemen that went down. I think I shared with John that I read this book about all the ships that went down. So I found out about this right when I finished the book. I think it's a really creative design. I'm really looking forward to see it, and I'm totally in support. Thank you.
John, I think it's a great design, and you've taken a lot of heat off the HPC by your response to the community from the first rendering to this. And I mean, it really took a lot of work to do, and it's greatly appreciated. And from a guy whose father was in the Navy and his grandfather was in the Navy, I really appreciate this, personally.
Jess.
I think it's beautiful, and I love the way it renders the story of history physical, and it's not historic, it's a new construction, but it's sensitive. It does what we are defending all of our historic buildings. It brings an emotional resonance to history. And I like also the way it invites people to leave the promenade and enter a personal space. I mean, we all do that when we go to the beach. We look at the ocean, we look at the sunset, we look at the sunrise, we look at families. There's just so many alive happenings at the beach. And here we have a memorial of people who lost their lives so that we could do that.
To you, Tom.
Being in the oldest resort, I think this is one of the newest and greatest monuments I've seen in a long time. As much as I love to see generals and sabers and horseback and things like that all around, this is very unique, and I think it'll be very, very well received. Visitors will, it's so different. It's got a flock to them. I'm not sure if they'll all be there February 28th, but it's going to be very popular.
A little cold on February 28th, but...
Over to you.
Thank you. No, this memorial is so exciting for the city. John, you have just knocked this one out of the park. You really, between the thought that went into all of this, the altitude, the degrees, I mean, the thought, everything, the nature plannings, it's just amazing. But I think part of the key is you take a look at the location of where it's being proposed, and you look across the street, and you look at the Grand, and you see that tower that the Grand is built around. I just think, and then getting the blessing from the Grand. They have the beautiful the flagpole. Talked about possible ceremonies happening there. I just think it's a huge win for the city. I just think that we're memorializing, it's something that should have been done years ago. But it really is. It's a blessing, and you really did a great job. And as Kevin said, there was nobody. I mean, everybody was very much supportive of this at the council meeting, and yes, we'll see how.
Well, we have you to thank for suggesting that site.
Well, we will see how things go tomorrow night.
Yeah.
It was mentioned that that the organization adjusted to community input with
They
respect
did.
to choosing the site. And pardon me, but I do have to mention the relevance of what we're doing here in terms of the criteria. We're talking about a new structure, a memorial that will probably become well-known and a famous memorial, but it's being put into a major area on Beach Avenue, which is in the commercial zone. It's in front of a non-contributing building, so there is zero prospect of there being any harm to this, even though it's not within our immediate jurisdiction because it's on the south side of the bulkhead. There's no prospect that this memorial can harm any of the streetscape. Rather, I think we're going to think, even though it's not a historic design, that it's probably going to improve the streetscape. It's going to improve a fair number of things. So I think that, and there's no way I'm going to comment about how much more merit this deserves because you've received that overly. I do want to, though, before we make a motion with respect to the report, open the floor to any public comment, should there be any desire to be made. Jules, are you going to step up to the podium?
Jules Rouse, 1010 New York Avenue. First, I'd like to make the comment, I support this project. That's not my concern at all. My father was drafted into the Navy in World War II. I've served, I've got lots of relatives, so that's not the issue. The issue is we've got a project before the city that is being, frankly, bypassing what you just spent 2 hours doing, reviewing applications for projects. This, as I see it now, is coming before you and the city to approve it without any real review of the project as a development. It is a major development, and it deserves to be reviewed on that basis. There's been no discussion about parking, lighting, where are the people going to go, how is it going to be administered. All of the major items that go into any planning development has not been done. There's been no interest in following through with those criteria. The comment's been made that the city owns the land. Well, quite frankly, when that bulkhead was built by the Army Corps of Engineers in 1961, 62, they own that stone. That's theirs. And you're going to build on top of something that belongs to someone else. I don't know that there's been evidence to show that the city has, frankly, the right to do that without approval from the Army Corps of Engineers. And whether there's a DEP requirement for a CAFRA permit. Generally, it's been thought of that anything east of Beach Avenue must have a CAFRA permit. I don't know if that's the case or not. But there's so many items that, frankly, this board and the city, in my view, needs to review that they normally would do on any development. So that's my concern. I could go through a long list of items which have not been before you, signs, lighting. That list is long, and you know it much, much better than I do. So there are my comments, and I'm just concerned that we're moving ahead with something without any real, frankly, factual review.
Mr. Roush?
Thank you for your comments, Jules.
Mr. Roush, if I may just respond to that.
Sure.
I'm seeing this from my standpoint, that this is it came to City Council, it's now before the HPC, it's going to be before Council again tomorrow via resolution. That follows multiple presentations before the public, soliciting public feedback, so that before it's presented in final form to the city to now navigate any applicable permitting procedures, they wanted to solicit and make sure they were getting that feedback from the public. So there was a pretty robust effort here from the organization to make sure what they were doing was consistent with the city. Now, they're proceeding through the process that anybody else follows, just like any other city project, seeking advisory approval. There's going to be SHPO review, which is under the DEP's umbrella. So, those questions will be flushed out. But I think the design they had in mind was to scale it down and not overcomplicate things and make something that could fit within, let's face it, we're already building a seawall there at some point. This is going to be incorporated within that. So I have to push back on the idea that the city's just kind of like blowing through something, because that's not what I'm seeing from my standpoint. I don't think anybody that's involved is really approaching it that way. So I just want to, you had your comment, I have to push back on that a bit with that factual background, because that's the process we're in right now.
And I'd also like to point out that we are here, and we're not here. We can comment on the artistic merits of this, and I say that, and I did comment on its relationship to people, because I also am the son of a World War II veteran. But I do want to make it understood that these design standards are what govern our view of something that we have put in front of us either for approval or for an advisory report, which is where we are today. The same standards apply, and I'm assuming that because all of you participated in doing this and you know them and you know what's relevant, and if you see something that is more than an effect on streetscape, which is how I see this in terms of our function for review. This is a judgment I'm making with respect to the merits of this project and how it relates to the streetscape in that particular area, which north of Beach Avenue is part of the historic district. So my personal feeling is that the merits of this, judged by these standards, do not violate our streetscape rules and therefore are consistent with an approval for the project. So that's where I'm coming from in terms of reviewing.
So Solicitor, you are assuring us that all due diligence has been done?
Yeah, well, and Mr. Roush, I just wanted to say that, obviously there's a different standard, how much purview we have regarding an applicant from the public, where we have to issue a certificate of appropriateness, and it's a much higher standard. When it comes to a municipal project, we are simply in an advisory role.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
But Jake, the
Yeah.
standards are the same.
Yeah.
Our role is to issue a report, either a favorable advisory report or an unfavorable one. The standards that we go by are the same, regardless of who the applicant is.
Yeah.
So we're treating this as if a private person were to present this as it's been presented.
And again, once we get into parking and signage, all that kind of stuff, that's, I think, beyond our purview. We're looking at streetscape, and I think everybody agrees it's going to fit in very nicely. It's passive, it's not anything that's really going to, it's out of proportion or anything. So I think it's,
Someday we may have jurisdiction south of the seawall, but we don't right now.
yeah.
But nonetheless, this is being reviewed pursuant to the standards. That's why they're here.
Yeah.
That's why it's running through this process, and that will go to SHPO as
And
well.
we are really only a part of the review process. And that's why all of this is being done in review committee. This is being done in front of the full body, and everybody has a chance to express their view of how it relates to the community, aside from the merits of how important a memorial is. So thank you for your comment. And if it's all right with commissioners, I would move that we grant this application a favorable advisory report to be given to the city and the group.
I'll second that motion.
Mr.
Roll call,
Carroll?
please, on the motion.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Ms. Basagno?
Voting as far as the streetscape, yes.
Ms. Wilson-Strudick?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Hammerand?
Yes.
Mr. Testa?
Yes.
Thank you.
Did you get to? You may reassume the chair.
All right. So that really concludes our applications for this evening. And I don't really have much to discuss, except I'd love to hear Lorraine and Janice report back any comments or reflections they'd like to make about the Extraordinary Design Awards and ceremony that occurred last week.
So we have a standing committee that we're going to be meeting, what is it, the second Tuesday?
Yeah, or sooner. We can-
Or sooner, we can. So the committee's going to reconvene. We do have some kind of debriefing and comments that we want to review. If we could hold off, I think, until our next meeting.
Yeah, and I also would like to invite any feedback from the HBC for our debriefing. Like, for instance, this morning, Lauren sent us an email that one of the owners of a condo at the Joseph Leach House had not been able to make the award ceremony and wondered if there was a certificate or something. And we realized we hadn't thought about a simple certificate for every person who is.
As a participant.
Yeah, for instance, with the Mainstay, all of the previous owners could have a simple commendation or certificate, something to have.
I haven't stopped crying since I did that.
Said by the guy who accepts about half the awards that are given here.
And there's issues about, our goal is to make this a sustainable annual event with the building awards periodic, because they are specific to how many resolutions we pass and projects get completed, so it's a much longer process than the stewardship or the leadership awards, which we could easily have
Annually.
many. I mean, there's just so many homeowners and building owners who have maintained their buildings that we would love to honor over year after year. But one of the challenges is the database of our resolutions. And I was talking to Stephen Smolin about that, and he said even in some of the larger cities, like where he sits, the database is maintained separately by a member of the commission on an Excel spreadsheet, yeah. So this dream of just hitting the button with SDL, the city database, even cities with bigger budgets, the staff, they don't have the ability to just reel off these beautiful reports like we imagined. So, I mean, there's reality check.
What kind of report were you looking for?
Well, what Judy and I did was go through years' worth of resolutions and set up an Excel spreadsheet and then refine it so that we could use it for all of our different questions like street reviews. And we need to find out which projects have been completed, are they compliant? And these reports, where we thought they would be just a matter of asking and getting a printout, it wasn't like that.
What kind of data points, like, were you looking for that you couldn't really cross-reference that well? The reason I'm asking is because if there's some way I can
That
help.
would be the resolution part of things, I
Yeah.
think. But it's not only the resolutions, it was the project completed. And did it adhere to all of, all of the different,
So the resolution was just a component of that.
it was a component of it. Mhm.
I mean, one of the things is a HPC filter of which projects are actually relevant, our criteria. And that's not something the construction office needs to think about. So that's our project. But
We did the internal
But
part
if
of
this
that.
was done by to me, this is not a big deal. This is something that a member of the standing committee could do month by month.
Periodically, yeah.
Because it's as simple as this, it's almost as simple as the agenda. Except you want to have the street address and
And then
the
what
contact.
category and,
So I'm sorry, we're getting into the weeds of
Yeah.
the type of thing that we need to talk about.
Sounds like a good subject for a committee meeting.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Good news is, next time you only have 2 or 3 years to go through instead of 8.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Just real quick, though, if everybody could think about, because I know Janice was asking for feedback, if everybody could think about, we were looking at stewardship and leadership being possibly every year. How do we, we were thinking of not having it as a public outreach, having it as an internal, whether it's with council, thoughts on how we would solicit that.
We were disappointed in the number of applications we got.
Exactly.
And maybe it's too onerous. People dread coming before us because of the applications. And if that's true also for stewardship and leadership, then maybe we need to find a way to do it ourselves.
Highlight those people that are doing the right
And
thing.
I also, along the same lines, that if the commission is thinking about awards, then put that in your cap when you have applicants and projects that are happening. Like when I drive in and I see that house on Lafayette that's raised, I'm like, that could be one of our future awardees. And people would love it if, we kind of were paying attention as they're actually doing the project.
So I ordered quite a few more. There's, I think, 12 more plaques that are coming in. Do we put one up here to show? Just a thought.
So I would like to suggest the following. There's a bunch of questions you guys are still playing with.
Right, I'll send an email.
Well, no, I would actually like to suggest you guys have your committee meeting and come back to us with what you, after due deliberation, are recommending, and present what you think is best.
Okay.
Yeah? Because we also have the new Carolyn Pitts Leadership Award plaque that's got to go somewhere, right?
Right.
Yeah? Okay, so that'd be great. Just once again, I can't say enough about how amazing that whole program was, and the amount of effort it took, and blah, blah. I don't want to say blah, 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 because it's like a lot. Yeah. Okay, we have a couple of big tasks yet we have to get done this year, or don't have to, but I'd like to suggest we'd like to. Now that all the work that's been done for the Historic Preservation Awards are out of the way, we have some space, I would suggest. And they are, in fact, the Local Historic District Map Amendment, and very tightly conjoined with that are the property reports. I kind of think that the property reports have to precede that. So Judy, you and I have talked about moving forward with that, and you said you would be happy to work with me on that. So I'll send you an email, and we can move forward on that. Because what I'm trying to think of is the next thing would be, when's our next HBC alignment workshop? And I think what I was holding, and tell me if this is accurate from the last one, is that the next one would be, again, about preparing for the presentation to the public on the Local Historic District
Map amendment.
map amendment. So we did that last year. We spent one whole alignment workshop aligning around what should we present and how and all that. That would then reserve the third one of the year, if we have time this year, I hope we do, to go through the long list of areas where we may want to amend and revise. What have we learned in almost 3 years now? I think we've learned a lot, right? And I think there's some things that we could clarify. And there's a section on city signage uniformity that we are working on with a subcommittee that I need to get on, right? Which, by the way, I'll be sending you guys an email about that probably tomorrow to see what there's some dates that we at HPC level can work on. So just as a reminder, there's a task force for city signage uniformity that is all about taking city signage and having it be created in a way that is conducive and cogent with the zeitgeist, brand, imagery, feel, context, right? So our job,
A lot of synonyms.
there's a lot, I know.
A lot of synonyms.
So Tom and Kevin and Lorraine and I have been working on this. And I think our next step is to actually draft a first draft of, yeah, and what I thought I could do before our meeting is I would put together an outline based upon all the notes we have from, I think, what have we had, 4 meetings, something like that? Sure. Yeah? So I'll do that, and all I'll be doing is soliciting from you guys available dates. And you were helpful in that we don't think this really needs to be anything more than what's already in the zoning ordinance. This can all reside as an amendment to our standards, right?
Potentially, yeah, I mean, because it's going to be something that's going to be, the city's going to direct.
Yeah, so these are actually city signs, and it has nothing to do with the signage.
Right.
for-
It's what we as a city are going to follow internally.
Correct, internally.
But with respect to amendments of the design standards, which were, of which there are a number of things that we
Number.
will
We-
be
we've
addressing.
started a list
Yeah,
already.
no,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying, and with that, that does need to be
Does.
run through the council
That does,
process.
yeah.
Okay, so that's it, unless anybody has any other comments. I do have one other thing to bring up, but go ahead.
I did have a quick one. You know, we had talked about how we're going to move forward with our new priorities, and one of them was going beyond simple architectural review and looking into infrastructure. And I don't know whether anyone's noticed, but in front of Collier's Liquors, they just put these ugly-looking big bollards there. It's right when you come into town, and I don't know whether the city ever came in and ran it by the review committee or anyone, but I think we should have had some kind of a role in that, because it's just, in my opinion anyway, it's not appropriate. Yeah, they're just big, ugly.
I guess I need to make it to that part of town.
Yeah, they just put them in a week ago. But I mean, you know, they could have done something that maybe had a little more of a,
So you go to
maybe dark
Sunset.
chains or.
That's a
Huh,
form of
that's really
signage,
interesting.
actually.
Yeah, it is a
Okay.
form of signage.
Yeah.
We should, thank you.
Yeah, but I'm saying, you know, again, if we are concerned about, you know, that sense of place, I mean, we should look at these little details.
No.
If the city wants to do something like that, they should run it by us.
No,
My-
thanks, Jake. I think you're right. And we can expand the definition of signage a little bit. Yeah? Yeah, okay, that's great.
That should have been sent to us by the building department, probably.
Yeah,
Things that
probably.
are put out to attract attention are in effect signage. If
Yeah.
that's- If they,
Yeah,
not just entertainment, or
Yeah,
something. This is, so you'll come to my.
yeah,
my-
these bollards do attract attention, that's for sure.
Yeah, good and bad, huh?
That's to keep you from driving into Colliers.
Yeah, but I mean, but they can look.
It's not a drive-through. Okay, I just wanted to tell you guys one little thing that happened out of the blue about 10 days ago. I got a call from a fellow who is deeply concerned about his a house in the family in Stone Harbor that resides in the most historical part of Stone Harbor, which is between 99th and 112th Street. And it's right next to a church, but there's another lot next to it that a developer wants to come in and build a McMansion. And so this got him thinking, and he wrote, I met with him like 3 times. He ended up writing a, what's it called, Judy, when you submit, and you're trying to submit the SHPO consideration for a historic district? Oh, here, hold on, I have it right here. No, it's called a, so this is a 19-page document that this guy put together. Statement of historic context, but there's a name for this.
Do you mean like an amicus brief?
Oh, multiple property submission, National Register of Historic Places. And he included, I believe, 12 properties. And it wants to extend it even further to the, you know those 2 half-block streets, which are, what are they called?
Cottages.
Yeah, they're all those workers' cottages. It's extraordinary.
It is unbelievable.
It's really unbelievable. So I just wanted you guys to be aware that I've been working on the side here. It has nothing to do with Cape May. It's
What is the historic preservation status, if
They have
anything,
none.
in Stone
There's
Harbor.
zero.
That affluent community.
Nothing.
That
There is zero.
prides itself on.
Nothing in Stone Harbor, nothing in Avalon, nothing in Cape May Point.
So what he's trying to do is create two things. One is
It sounds like a district, a small district,
a small district.
contained district.
And also an HPC to choreograph what gets done in that district.
So he was asking you for assistance with
He
that
was.
process?
Yeah, and so I pointed him to Andrea. And
How
had
does-
him send all those documents to Andrea.
So how does
Probably.
Stone Harbor reacting to this? Or
I
he
have no
hasn't?
idea.
Has he presented it to the?
I
No.
don't think so. He's been speaking with a couple of the commissioners, but I'm not sure what's, I just wanted you guys to know, I'm doing this personally, it has nothing to do with HPC.
Yeah.
I felt a need to support him in his efforts because what he was doing, I think, is spot on and necessary,
I mean,
helpful.
But while we hate to dilute your talents, the fact is that if there is an importance in Stone Harbor of preserving the historical aspect of some part of that town, someone ought to be helping them move ahead.
It's a difficult process
It's very difficult.
to undertake. I mean, I've done it myself in Pennsylvania. I know the hurdles it takes to establish a historic board. People are recalcitrant, they just don't
Well,
want
you'd
to
have
do
to
it.
have sympathy for those values in the community, right? So Stone Harbor would have to have that indigenous support.
Yeah, he needs support from some significant residents and people in charge of the government would really help. I mean, we can go to support that if we wanted to. Dorothy has just done this in Morristown, New Jersey, where my daughter lives. And there was significant pushback from some,
So remember, guys, it wasn't easy here.
it's not easy.
No.
It's a historical
No,
society. Do they even have a?
So Judy, thanks for that. I just put-
Yeah, so there's a historical society in Stone Harbor and Avalon, but of course, that's completely separate. That's a nonprofit. But of course, they can also support the
But
the
they
effort.
could move toward a government agency,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a historic preservation commission, but that's going to involve also political will, right?
I mean, they do have a really nice downtown. They have a nice theater. I think it would be great if they had some review process.
So remember, they kept the theater we lost.
But it is usually a project like that, a demolition or a historic structure being threatened.
Yeah, it's sort of the spark that.
Isn't there a house
They
there?
have-
the
Yes,
Taylor
but it's
Swift
weak.
house? They just need to get Taylor Swift on
Get
it.
Taylor Swift on. Bad idea.
That'll do for the seafood festival in Stone Harbor.
So, folks, do we have any other issues? I just wanted you guys all to be aware of that. so-
Yeah.
so
Thank
it's
you.
not a mystery, right? Any other questions, comments, reflections, concerns? We haven't
He's thinking.
determined it yet.
He's thinking.
I originally thought it would be sometime in June, but I think it's going to be probably more like July because we have some work to do. Okay? So I would like to entertain, I'm just going to move